It is 9:03 according to my iPhone, and I call this meeting of the Sunset Empire Transportation District Board of Directors to order. Do we know where Erica is? Do we need Erica to be here?
That's weird.
She went upstairs, didn't she?
Oh. Looks like sand is on the.
All right. Okay. So it's okay. Director Carr, I think we've got one person off on the hunt already. So.
Okay. Okay, she's coming.
All right.
Here's Erica.
Sorry.
All right. So the meeting has been called to order, and those that are able, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I want to acknowledge a little bit of discombobulation this morning because I left my iPad at home, so my electronic brain is not with me. We're working off paper. Erica, could you do roll call, please? And welcome. Thank you for being here. I'm glad we have you.
Okay, and how do I do that?
Just go off the names. Yeah, go off. Did you have the list of the names in front of you? We can do it a different way. Hold on, I
know everybody's name. I've been watching your movies.
So we're going to go around the table, and you're going to state your name and your position, please. We'll start on the left, my left.
Matthew Stolberg, Board Commissioner.
Kathleen People, Board Commissioner.
Guillermo Romero is absent, excused. Kathy Klezak, Board Chair.
Tita Montero, Board Secretary Treasurer.
Pamela Leguia, Vice Chair.
Penny York, Board Member.
All right, so we have roll call taken care of. Any changes to the agenda? Commissioner Teeple.
I would like to request an executive session to give the board an update on personnel.
Exempt from public records.
Exempt from public records.
So where would you like that added to the agenda?
Do you have to give public notice for that?
There can be changes to the agenda made at the meeting.
No, I'm at the executive session.
Yeah.
You don't need to.
Maybe after committee reports?
Yeah.
Sure. So we're going to make that item 9.
Don't put it at the end. I'll second that.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any further discussion?
So you're going to make it an item 7.5.
After the committee reports at 8.5.
Oh, 8.5,
Yeah.
thank you.
How long would that be expected? I have Betty Nielsen dialing in, and she's double booked. So
I don't think it's going to be a very long executive session.
Okay.
Just an update.
Yeah,
Okay.
the board just wants an update. And it's exempt from public records, so we have to do it in executive session. So I will use an old executive session script I hope I have with me, to do that. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Chair votes aye. Motion passes. To add that change to the agenda. Any other changes to the agenda? Okay. Public comment. Do we have any public on?
We do, and I show no hands raised.
Okay, anybody that would like, from the public that is present at the meeting right now that would like to make public comment, not on the budget, not for the budget hearing, just general public comment, raise your hand. And you will be given 3 minutes to speak. I'm going to look in the room to buy time. Anybody in the room like to make public comment? Nobody in the room. Anybody online again? Okay, I know sometimes it takes a minute to get your hand raised, so no public comment. General public comment. Approval of the minutes. Entertain a motion regarding the minutes.
I would move to approve the minutes as written.
Second.
Motion was made by Commissioner Teeple and seconded by Commissioner York to approve the minutes as written. Any discussion? Commissioner Alegria.
I'd like Sam to spell his last name and that it's spelled correctly. It has been misspelled in many ways, and I'm beginning to lose what the real spelling is. So if you could just, and Erica will know this, and you can do a search and for all the various misspellings. So Sam, hit it.
Yeah, of course. It's D as in boy, D as in dad, E as in echo, I as in eagle, R like Robert.
Okay.
It's not a very common last name, so it's not easy to pronounce.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other changes to the agenda? I mean, minutes. Sorry. Like I said, seeing none, minutes, the motion was to approve the minutes as presented with the small spelling corrections as needed. Those are Scribner's corrections, not changes to the agenda. So all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes aye, motion passes unanimously. Reports from chairs and commissioner. Commissioner Stolberg, would you like to start us off?
No, but.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I had spoken to a community member about a proposed policy change and brought it up in the board policy committee, and we discussed that, and that's something that we'll work with on a forward date.
Excellent, thank you. Commissioner Teeple.
Yes, I'd like to make a report. A few weeks ago, I had the opportunity to work with the district accounts payable and payroll accountant, Victoria Davis. She'd been assigned some jobs, new jobs for which she didn't have any experience or training or knowledge. And Victoria was tasked with finding out how to accomplish these governmental and district requirements from scratch. And she did all the research and investigation on her own to learn how to do this. She was able to compile all the data and learned how to create the documents and the forms necessary, both for the government and for the district accounting program. Spending hours and hours figuring out how to do this, which most people have to take classes and learn and stuff, and she did it all on her own. And I just wanted to say that I'm very impressed by her dedication to the job and the hard work that she put in to accomplish this vital project. And I'm grateful to know that she's a member of the SETD staff and would like to acknowledge her for her diligence and commitment and loyalty.
Thank you. Commissioner York.
A follow-up, could you state for the record what your experience or what your credentials are in that are more than you just watching an employee doing a good job?
Well, my credentials are 50 years as an accountant.
Thank you.
That's important
expertise in
information.
taxation.
I'm sorry I spoke over you. Could you repeat that?
Oh, with
please?
expertise in taxation, in tax accounting.
That reminds me, before we move on to the next person, as we have stated previously, we were going to make an effort to make sure that we don't speak over each other. We speak loudly enough for the microphone, not for the person next to you, and that whenever possible, you state your name before you start speaking. So that will help with the minute taking and with our online audience to make sure that they can tell who's speaking when, because that is not always clear until we're able to upgrade some technology. We have to do it manually. It's going to take some practice, and we're going to need reminders, but let's really try and make an effort for that. Commissioner York.
I don't have anything, thank you.
Commissioner Alegria.
Nothing.
Commissioner Montero.
Nothing at this time.
Okay. There's been a lot of work and things going on in the background, and I hope that between now and the next board meeting, we will be able to get together and tie some bows on things that are still pending. So we have some work to do, and I'm glad to have this capable board that is engaged and committed to the district here to work with. So that's my report at the moment. There's a lot going on. So thank you. Committee reports. Board Policy Committee.
Yes. The Board Policy Committee met on June 19th, and we reviewed some policies that have come to the board. We're not making any recommendations today. Our largest task right now is that we're working on enumerating the policies to be included in our board policy manual. Then we will start prioritizing the order in which they will be added or reviewed, revised, and presented to the board. And we may be making like policy requests from the board. Maybe have you all also do some prioritization of what you think is most important for us to get finished on the board policy manual. So we're working diligently on that.
Thank you. Appreciate the hard work. Look forward to the policies that are going to come out of that. The next committee is the Executive Director Evaluation Committee.
As you know, we're still in process with that. Kathy and I have met and spoken several times, and we have divided up some of the work. I want to assure you that the survey that was developed by the committee with the consultant is a really valid, strong survey. We received good, valid results from it. I did not do what I should have done in clarifying the product we wanted from the consultant. So Kathy and I are working on putting that together from the work that has been done. And I think that our chair has the intent to schedule a special meeting for us to go over it and finalize it. Hang on to the documents you were given to be able to use for that. And do you have anything to add?
Yep, so we'll be on the lookout for a date that works for all of us between now and the next meeting for us to have a evaluation only executive session meeting. Maybe not just an executive session, but evaluation focused meeting only before the next board meeting. Just putting that on your radar. Hopefully everybody will be in the country.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wait a minute.
Not just you. Commissioner Romero is our assigned liaison to the Northwest Area Commission on Transportation. Since his assignment, there have been 3 meetings of which he has attended 1, and so I would like to reassign that liaison position to somebody else on the board. Commissioner York, I think you would be an excellent representation on that. The value of that committee is increasing at the moment because there's some important decisions that are going to be made and prioritizations for funding that is coming up. They're refocusing some attention on the acts, and so that's a very valuable position that we can't afford not to have a voting member on. So I'm hoping you would accept that.
I volunteer.
It's a in-person or virtual attendance option, and so you don't have to attend. I will say that the in-person opportunities are very valuable. For the board, as far as your information is concerned, just so that you know, the Northwest Area Commission on Transportation is an ODOT advisory committee. It's made up of city, county, special districts, and state officials that get together to plan transportation funding and projects for our region. And our region includes Clatsop, Columbia, Tillamook, and part of Washington County. So it's really important that we are at the table and active in the discussion with a voting member. I am glad you're accepting your volunteering that position.
just wanted to add that I was at the meeting and I was asked to give a presentation on SETD, and I gave a presentation. It was the day after I got a concussion, and what I heard was I did a pretty good job. But I cannot tell you definitively whether or not that was the case. But we did give a presentation on SETD, and
Thank you for answering that question, because it had been taken off the agenda. So the last agenda I received for that meeting. So anyway, great. Glad that happened. But it's a very valuable committee, and they are trying to engage the transportation district more in the meetings with reports and things. And we, as a district, have one voting member, and so we need to make sure that we have that person there. Thank you again. I will forward your name to the officials, and then you should get the meeting invites and updates. Appreciate that. The TAC, the Transportation Advisory Committee.
Okay, the TAC and
Commissioner Allegria.
thank you. And the Northwest, NWACT are reviewing 2 applications for revenue vehicle grant and non-revenue vehicle grant. Consequently, this needs to be approved by the TAC Transportation Advisory Committee. At this moment in time, the date has not been formulated yet, but it has been submitted to all the participants on the TAC. The presentation will be by Northwest ACT, will be on August 13th, so it's imperative that TAC meets beforehand to approve and comment on the 2 grants, and then ODOT will compile all comments, recommendations, and project rankings and present it to the Public Transportation Advisory Committee. Thank you.
So I have a question about that.
Commissioner
This-
York.
Oh, sorry.
Holy smokes, yeah.
You said in your report that they approve the request, and I wanted to double check, do they have the authority to approve, or do they make recommendations?
They make recommendations, so I use the wrong word.
Thank you.
Commissioner Montero.
So they make recommendations to the board, so will that come to the board?
Yes. That's why, it was, okay, excuse me.
This is, so if I may, I think, and I will defer to you in a moment, I believe these are the recommendations. This is the application that we already approved.
That we already approved.
It needs to go back to the TAC for their final stamp and recommendation, and then it goes to the ACT to prioritize. So there's a presentation that will happen to the ACT that they will use to prioritize how they rank the proposed spending.
correct.
Okay.
There was a new process where this is all new process. So it was used to they'd get it and they complete the application, they would review it and then pass it on to the ACT, and then they would move it on. Now they want us to get a chance to review it again. We present to the ACT, and we're presenting ours, Tillamook's presenting theirs, and another county's presenting theirs. So we'll make those presentations there. They will make a recommendation. In all kind of fairness, there's $2.4 million for the whole state, and our request is for $850,000.
Good luck.
But yeah, but I said that a lot. The reality is, by getting into the queue, by making the presentation, having our grant, doing the all this stuff, we are now kind of out there, and they know what our need is, they've identified it. So there'll be another round. We'll have already done this, and so the next time we do it, the process will be a lot simpler. We've already done our homework, and we'll have to do changes, minor changes, but we're now in that process. So the next time they do it, if we're fortunate enough to get some money, we may get a bus or 2. We'll take it.
So is the August 13th date that you mentioned?
Your name.
Oh, Tito Montero. Is the August 13th date that you mentioned the date the presentation's being made? Okay. That's what I didn't understand.
David Carr, Executive Director. I'm going to try to the application's due on the 15th of August. We will do our presentation on the 13th of August. We are meeting on the 7th of July we have a review of that here internally. We meet with ATTAC and we look at any changes or adjustments. We can't change materially the grant, so we're just going to make some fine tuning and then we'll submit that. We should be able to present that grant to the board if they so choose, but it's materially the same application.
Commissioner Legria.
Okay, so the email you sent me, the dates are a little different, or my understanding of it is a little different. So the form is due August 14th. NWACT, this is your email. Presentation is on the 13th. So I don't see where and then you said to meet the 14th deadline. So I don't understand where the 15th came in.
I misspoke.
Okay, that's fine. And the other thing is, I thought there was some discussion of how to streamline ODOT grants so that you have enough time to actually submit them. So, because with money tight and because of how it's set up now, one can miss it because there's so many dates that you have to, deadlines that you have to meet. And I thought there's a larger discussion on that.
I don't believe we finished that discussion. I think that would be, I have some information about how other entities approach that. I've not had a chance to present it to this board, but I think it would benefit us if we had a way to say, here's a body of things we want, is okay to apply for grants. Chair Klezak sent me one the other day. We had 2 days to have it submitted. And we probably wouldn't have submitted for that grant anyway because of the technical nature of it. But, getting a grant and having 2 days to review it, and we can't respond to that. And so we need to have a method which would help us, is that you said, if you apply for buses or you apply for shelters or transit infrastructure, those things are allowable within this certain parameter. So let's say up to so many dollars. We could go ahead and do that without permission, without review. We could do a post review. And then we would only really need board permission is if we were accepting the grant. So example, we got $1 million grant.
That's not true.
No, I'm saying I'm suggesting if we had a process like that, then that would help us apply for grants more expeditiously. And if that's not the case, then, whatever the board's pleasure as to how they want to do that. But I think there are methods that can, in my conversation with the CEDAR group, currently none of them review their applications with their boards. So we're unique in that respect. But I'm like I said, I'm at the pleasure to serve however you want, however the grant process is. We'll do our best to apply for grants within that structure.
What my concern is, that's one concern. But the first concern is, if ODOT gives you 2 days, that's saying...
Okay, just for clarification,
You know what?
stop. I'm going to stop right now. For clarification, that's a misrepresentation that we had 2 days to apply for a grant. I sent you an email asking you if you were aware of a grant, and that application opened a month before I sent it to you. That doesn't mean you had 2 days to apply for it. It means I was checking to see if you were aware of it. You not being aware of it ahead of time doesn't mean that there was only 2 days to apply for it.
Okay.
So,
I didn't know that.
okay,
Yes.
just to clarify, that's a misrepresentation, that there were there was a 2-day opportunity to apply for a grant.
Okay.
Okay.
Given that this has been brought up before, this is not on today's agenda, I would like to suggest that we put it on next month's agenda to discuss this more thoroughly. Or a future agenda is what I'm going to say. Because we've got a very full agenda today, and I don't think we can digress to be talking about this right now.
I think both of those points are very valid, and this is something that we need to keep our eye on. It is a constant discussion. As you can see, that there are constantly grant opportunities available, and we do need to discuss what our process is. I would like to draw everybody on the board's attention to the training that we all had an opportunity to take. And in that training, this was actually brought up, and the responsibility of the board to review whether it was worth it for the district to apply for a grant. Anytime there's a grant opportunity, it is the board's responsibility to review whether that is a grant they wish to apply for. You all have I sent links to the recording, and you can review them at your leisure. But just bringing that up. And we do need to discuss that further and what the constraints would be to that going forward in the future. So, anything further for the TAC committee? You're going to be meeting between now and...
Sometime in July. The dates have been
Okay.
distributed, and they just have to be confirmed by the participants.
Perfect. Commissioner Montero.
Before we close out committee reports, we do not have on the list a finance committee, and I would like to suggest that we're at a point where we need to be developing our finance committee. One of the things that brought that to mind for me is we got a lot of very good and in-depth information in our packet regarding accounts payable, accounts receivable, et cetera, and as I was reading through that, I was thinking this is the work of a finance committee to be reviewing all that and bringing the information back to the board, as so that the board doesn't have to get into the details. But I would like to see us get busy with putting together a finance committee.
Thank you for the suggestion. We will bring that up again at another meeting. I'm writing paper notes. My hand doesn't want to actually write on paper. There's a future item on the agenda which we will resolve another additional committee member and a committee report here later on the agenda. So at this time, please excuse my pasting this together, trying to do it on the fly. It is 9:30, and I'm going to recess the regular meeting and start an executive session at 9:30. Sunset Empire Transportation District Board of Commissioners will now meet in executive session pursuant to ORS 192-6602, Parens 2, Parens F, personnel records exempt from public inspection, which allows the board to meet in executive session.
Let me know when it's time to come back in.
Representatives of the news, media, and the designated staff shall be allowed to attend the executive session. All other members of the audience are asked to leave the room. Representatives of the news media are specifically directed not to report on or otherwise disclose any of the deliberations or anything said about these subjects during the executive session, except to state the general subject of the session as previously announced. No decision may be made in executive session. At the end of executive session, we will return to open session and welcome the audience back into the room. I foresee that being by 9:40. So I will excuse all of those members not in the room. Would the board like to include anybody from staff to be part of the executive session?
Yes, I think we need to include Erica. Because she's our clerk of the board.
Clerk of the board. Regular session back to order. It is 9:43, and we are on to item number 9, budget hearing and for fiscal year 2026-2027. Executive Director Carr, who is the budget officer.
Enclosed is the proposed 26-27. We have had our meetings, and this is our hearing for that. We're proposing a budget. Get to that part. I'm sorry.
Oh, wait. Yep, go
No,
ahead.
I'm getting ahead of myself.
Okay. So while you're getting that stuff ready, I will read my script that I should have read when this item started. Thank you, Erica, for keeping me in line and providing me with the script. So this is the time and place set for the public hearing for Sunset Empire Transportation District's fiscal year 2026-27 budget. The budget was approved and recommended for approval by the SETD Board of Commissioners on May 15th, 2026, by the SETD 2026 Budget Committee, 2026-2027 Budget Committee. Before you in the June board pack is the budget that was approved by the SETD Budget Committee. The budget hearing is now open, and we will receive the presentation of the budget by the budget officer.
So the proposed budget is before you, page 20. I won't read it verbatim, but our resources are grants totaling 1.731.273 for the biennium. We anticipate using $869,120 in FY26 and the remaining $862,153 in FY27. 310, totaling $329,945 for the biennium. It was originally distributed equally between fiscal years and $540 in FY27. STIF funding is $2.144,691 for the biennium and is anticipated to be distributed equally. The purchase of the 4 buses grant, and we are asking the grantor to use the remaining $50,000 FY27, though that looks like that won't be the case, and we'll return those funds unless we receive another grant. The following graphs and charts were presented before. You can see our cash, contingency, fares, ODOT revenue all outlined there. You can see our equivalent, full-time employee equivalent. Our org chart, and then the budget. At this point, it did not anticipate going through line item for line item, but if there's any questions about that. And really, the presentation here is the LB1. This is what we will be turning into the county at the end of this meeting, and approval of the budget and the meeting. Some of the headers are a little fuzzy, but we are beginning fund balance of $2.209,694. The reason that number is significantly higher than historical is we've included the reserve of $962,000 in that budget number. That is not to be spent, it's just being reflected in our fund balance. All the other lines are here. I'm trying to think if there was anything that was significantly different. Materials and services are expected to be significantly higher with the higher cost of fuel, the fact that our vehicles are a lot older and requiring more maintenance, and some of our facilities need additional work. Capital outlay is significantly reduced because we've purchased the buses and have not received grants for any other buses, so at this time did not anticipate any bus purchases. Our debt service is higher because we expect to completely pay off our loan either at the end of this year or the first quarter of next year. I can't remember that, but it shows that I believe it's going to be paid off at the end of this year.
Just for clarity,
Calendar year.
this calendar year
Fiscal
or
year.
this fiscal year?
I shared a copy of the loan payment at the last meeting. I'm sorry, I'm not usually able to recall that fairly well.
$352,000.
Is Betty on the call? There she is. Hi, Betty.
Hi there.
I want to take just a minute to say just how instrumental Betty was in helping, assisting me putting this together. Even when I was having a difficult time, she was able to come in and really did a wonderful job. I can applaud SDAO and you in particular, Betty, for helping me on this. And I appreciate all your support through this process. I'm not sure what else I need to go through here. The permanent levy is still 0.1620 per thousand, which is what it's been over the last few years. We're not asking for any kind of a change or increase there. No bonds, and that would be it. Betty, did you have any other comments that, I'm sure?
Not at this time, but thank you.
All right. SDAO was, as you recall, was contracted to be a consultant and support us through this process. And like I said, did an exemplary job and really appreciate that.
Okay. So the budget being presented is in your packet with the information in it that was approved, listed as approved by the budget committee. And the forms that will be submitted to the county are also included. At this time, I will open the budget hearing to public comment. Do we have any public on that would like to make public comment on the budget?
Nobody's raising their hand.
Giving people a chance to find the buttons if they'd like to. Any public in the room that would like to make comment? Back to the online. Anybody online that would like to make public comment on the budget hearing? On the budget as presented? Okay. Going a third time. Public comment is closed. Board discussion of the budget. I'm not sure which one of you had your name tags up first. Commissioner Legrita.
I'll just say, what happened to our groundskeeper? Is this money not available for upkeeping?
Our groundskeeper.
I don't know what the word is. The weeds are 2 feet high. Is that money, there isn't enough money to pay them?
Well, they're trimming the bushes.
So I'm going to redirect it only about what is the budget in front of you.
Is there money in there?
In the maintenance budget is included not only for vehicle maintenance, but it's grounds maintenance. And you can see we increased it significantly to help address that. They were trimming the bushes.
Okay, because I'm not going to do reading every time I come here.
Commissioner Montero.
Okay, the Budget Committee first met on April 30th, and we made changes to the budget. We had a lot of questions. We then met again on May the 15th, and we had a significant number of changes to the budget. The LB1 is accurate to those changes that we made to the budget. May 15th was when the Budget Committee met. May 18th, Jennifer Geisler sent us all a packet, a file that had all of Betty's recordings of our changes. That is not what is in our packet. Our packet today is wrong. It shows the original budget from May 15th before any of the changes were affected. However, the LB1 is correct, but the budget that's in our packet is wrong. It is not what Jennifer sent us on May 18th, and it does not, and I took my own notes, it does not reflect my notes either. What we got on May 18th does reflect the notes I took. So the significant difference is what our total resources and requirements are, which is correct
on the LB1 of $6,958,427,000, but is not correct in our packet. And we need to make sure that we are, I will not vote to approve a budget that doesn't have the correct numbers in it, even though the LB1 is correct. And I went over this with a fine-tooth comb. Commissioner York.
Could you refer to the page number in the packet?
The LB1 is on page 39, and if you want me to go through and tell you where the wrong things are, I can, because I noted it in my packet. So, that's not page 27. 30. So it's page 30. Your bottom line at total resources says $6,700,000. It should say $6,958,427. And that not only was my number that I wrote down, but it's also in the packet that we got from Betty. So let me just keep going.
Wait, before you keep going.
That's fine.
The numbers that would need to be adjusted
Yes,
in the
I'm
column
sorry.
above that need
The
to be
stiff
added.
formula fund did not include the transfer of the money in, and so the number of 1,533,000 should actually be 1,725,389, and that is what makes the increase at the total resources.
And all of the other numbers are stay the
All the
same?
other numbers stay the same. 1,725,389. If you go to the next page, you want to go to line 32. That was increased by $52,000. And so that should be 152,143.
Wait a second, I'm sorry.
152,
Line what?
132.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, line 32,
On page 30.
page 31, line 32, should be $152,000, $152,143. And your total materials and services,
Which is
which is on the same page,
152, what?
152,143. And your total materials and services should be 1 million.
What page, sorry?
Same page.
Okay.
At the bottom. $1,166,295.
Could you say that one more time?
$1,166,295.
Shouldn't the
I
number
don't
be
think
bigger?
that's possible.
Hold on a minute. Let me look down here. Oh, yeah, it's a minus. You minus it. Oh, you know what? I thought it was a minus, it's a plus. Okay. So, somebody get a calculator.
It's 1,276,295.
Thank you. 1,270,295.
6,295.
Thank you. Okay, I thought that was a minus.
Excuse me,
That's
that's
line 39
on the LB 30, right?
on page 31. On page 31.
just adds that.
Okay, yes.
Then you go to page 32.
I just sent it.
Can you print that out?
The unappropriated ending balance, line 67, should be $1,470,187.
Can you repeat that, please?
Hold on a minute.
Yeah.
So if I may, it seems that an earlier version was inserted in here incorrectly. We had the corrected version, and with all the different renditions, it looks like we just made an error in the wrong file. So procedurally, how do we,
So
if we just submit, we just insert the corrected forms, that'll be 10, 30, and 50, and if the LB1 is fundamentally correct, we will not have to, because we won't have to approve the budget all over again,
Yeah.
because the corrected version was just not inserted in here.
So,
If you do that, and review that, and it's to your satisfaction, will that satisfy what we need to do here?
so let's finish the process. That's what this third column is for. That is why we're going over it, to make sure that we're getting the right numbers in them. And we're not changing what the budget committee approved. We're clarifying it in our, this is what the adopted by the governing board column will say. The approved by the budget committee line can be corrected to what it should be, but this is the document that was presented to the board. This is what we're going over. We're making the corrections between the discrepancy so that we can approve what in the column that is adopted by the governing board, that is what we are adopting.
And yes, and I can continue to go down the list. Betty, if I say anything wrong, because you've got your files there as well. But now I'm thinking we also have an error on the LB1.
So before we move it on, and before Commissioner Allegria's question, this is Chair Klezak, and I am asking, move off of line 67, I believe there were several people that needed that number again before we move on.
The unappropriated fund balance, which is line 67, should be $1,470,187. But you also have to go up to line 65, which is the operating contingency, and reduce that to $900,001. We took that and put it in resources. We took $52,000 and put it in resources. So we have to reduce it on this page. Okay. Then to line 71, that number should be $6,958,427. Which is what you also see on the last line of the LB1. Okay, let's go to the next page.
So just for clarification, before we move off of this page, the only lines that don't carry over from what we have in the approved by budget committee column are the ones that were just mentioned. Everything else would carry over the same as it is in the approved by budget committee column. Is that correct? Betty, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, just want to make sure. So when we're going through our notes and we're making sure we're cleaning this up, we're cleaning it up correctly. Okay.
Okay.
Commissioner Allegria, did you have a question on this page?
Not a question, a suggestion. When this is all said and done, that when the motion or whatever the word is made, that these numbers are given in the motion, since we're having trouble.
We can't,
No,
we
go through
can't
line
give
by
the
line.
exact numbers, but we can say as corrected.
Okay.
So, and I would be more than happy to put that motion in. Okay, so then
Commissioner
you're
Teagle.
going.
So just to recap on the
Yes.
LB1, the materials and services would go up by $52,000 and the contingency would go down by $52,000,
Right.
but the total would remain the same.
Right, so the L is not correct, right?
But just 52,000.
Yes. So when we get to that page, we'll repeat that. Okay, we are now on page 33. And on page 33, the ending balance is, that's line 23. Line 23 should be 158,453.
Oh, wait. On line what?
Line 23
Okay.
should be 158,453.
Where does that come from?
That's the difference of what you're not spending and what you're spending.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
And then line 26, the total requirements should be 1,883,842.
Excuse me.
Oh, do you want me to say it again?
No, but for clarity, can we not only mention the page number, but the form and the line number, please?
Yes, thank you.
Not everybody watching is going to have the same.
Okay.
The LB 19, we changed the.
This is the LB 10.
Oh, 10, sorry. Allergy eyes. The LB 10, thank you for the corrections. Line 24, we've corrected the number there.
No, line 23.
Again,
Let me say it again. Line 23 on the LB 10, which is page 33 of our packet, should be 158,453. And then you go down to line 26, total requirements, and that should be $1,883,842. Now, on the same line, go to the left of total requirements, where it says 767,000. That should be 1,117,107. 1,117,107.
And that's under year-to-date actuals and projections 2025
That
to
is correct.
2026.
Right.
For the fourth column.
so it's the same number that's above in line 8.
Looks like it. Yeah. Just like on total resources, it's also the same one.
Okay.
Okay, let me see what.
Commissioner Teagle?
Before we change the channel. So on this form, LB, the STIF formula fund distribution is in $1.5 million. On our budget proposed, the STIF formula fund is 1.7. Do those need to be the same?
Where are you, please?
Okay,
She's
on
looking at
page
the,
30,
At the
on
top.
page 30, on line 19, we changed that to $1,725,000, which is the name is STIF formula fund, and I'm just wondering if those two numbers need to match.
what page are you on in
I'm
our
on
packet?
page 30, line 19, resources,
Yes, we increased the STIF formula fund.
to
resources.
1,725.
Correct.
So it needs to
Should
change.
page 33, line 5 be the same?
Page 33. Page 33.
Betty?
5.
Go ahead, David, if you haven't answered.
Yeah, go ahead.
I believe that, so you're saying that I think the difference is the prior year's amount, and that's why we came up with that. It's
Right.
the prior year amount. So I don't think that it necessarily has to be the same amount because it's allocated somewhere else.
Let me see.
I don't know what that means.
Oh, 10-5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I believe when they looked at that they did it in a different amount. So that they used the amount without the carryover.
I believe you're right.
And I would say, looking at our previous amounts on those two different lines in past years, sometimes they are the same, but not always. And so that makes sense that the distribution could change things so that it doesn't have to be matching. It could be, but it doesn't have to be.
Okay.
Correct.
Just a deduction. Thank you for supporting my deduction, Betty.
Sure, no problem.
Okay. So we're on page 33, which is LB10. Do we have any that need to be made or updates?
Page 33, LB 10. No, those are the only three that I have. Now, the other thing that was supposed to happen was that lines 12, 15, 16, 17, and 18 were supposed to be removed. But that's not significant. Okay. Then your special fund page on it, and it's not supposed to. And then page number, please. I'm sorry. Page 34 is blank. There should be nothing on it. That is correct. And page 35 appears to be a repeat of page 34. Somehow the same page got put in there twice is what it appears to be. Okay. And then page 36 has no change. Page 37 has no changes.
So I have a question on page 37 before we move on to 37. I mean, from 37. And this question goes to Betty or David, and again, and or anybody that remembers from the meeting any discussion about this. Line 25 on the LB 11, page 37, has an unappropriate ending fund balance of $100,000, and that was somewhere, it's capital improvements. It doesn't say that in here. I forget where. I don't recall us paying $100,000 for capital improvements. It was set aside in the, I'm sorry, capital, this is the capital reserve fund. So that was set aside as a capital reserve fund and not spent in this fiscal year, 25-26. but it just disappears from the line, and I couldn't remember what the answer to that was as to where that $100,000 went to. From my recollection is that because it's set aside in a special fund, if it is spent, the board has to approve it as a capital reserve fund spend. So I'm looking for some clarity on that.
I believe that the issue on this is that this was from the adopted budget 25-26, and that budget was in error.
But it's still adopted as part of the budget, so where did that money go?
This is Betty. I think we said we were going to research that, but it was my impression, the same as the previous person, that that money was just a budget item, that we budgeted $100,000 and we were going to spend $100,000. That because it was there, we had to keep it there on the form. Mm-hmm. And we were going to research later where that money, if that money was ever given to us and if that money was ever collected. But to my knowledge, we just
Okay. So
it was just budget.
So, but for clarification, so this is a capital reserve fund, and it had $100,000 set aside for it. So year-to-date actuals, I would think, should have to include that $100,000 that was set aside in a capital reserve fund, because that's where we put it. If we wanted to reallocate it for this budget year, we could, but it should be in the year-to-date actuals projections as $100,000, shouldn't it?
Well, that's the thing, is we don't know if it really exists, and so we didn't want to put it in the budget.
That's right. Yeah. And just because it was adopted year to date, nothing was spent, but that doesn't mean that it necessarily carries over into this year.
Right.
I had with that budget and why I voted against it.
I mean, okay. I may be beating a dead horse here, and this is the last time I'm going to circle around this question. It was budgeted, and it was an adopted budget. This money should be someplace. We can't just lose $100,000. Doesn't mean it carries over into the proposed by budget officer, the adopted by budget committee, or the adopted by governing body. Where did that $100,000, where is that? What happened?
Well, you have to figure out where it came from to begin with. Yeah.
Commissioner
If it came in at all, and that's what we didn't know, is if it even came in. If just because it was budgeted doesn't mean that it actually came in.
Perhaps if you look on page 32, there is 64 for $100,000, and they're calling it interfund transfers.
Ah, yes.
Line 35?
64 on page 32.
But that's the first.
And anticipated transfer that was going to happen during that budget year. Perhaps.
Correct. So we needed to do more research, and that's why we didn't include it in the budget.
So I would think that that is the beginning of where did that come from. Mm-hmm. It came from the general fund in 24-25, and it was transferred into the capital reserve fund.
I would
to be
say
spent on to be saved for capital reserve projects. Mm-hmm. But then there's no tracking of that.
It was anticipated that the transfer was going to be made. There's no documentation that we have that says the transfer actually happened.
Still points to us losing $100,000.
Yeah.
We haven't lost it. We just budgeted $100,000 to be done, to transfer to be made. It doesn't mean that we actually made it or that we thought we could make it at that time. So just because it was budgeted doesn't mean make it real. And we haven't lost anything.
They may have reduced
Commissioner Teeple.
They may have reduced a contingency fund or something by $100,000 and then it washed out. You know, it wouldn't have come out of a bank account.
Okay. I want to say, I don't want to hold up the discussion about this because we're not budgeting for that capital reserve fund for this coming fiscal year. But that needs to be something that we figure out what happened to that $100,000 because it was first preceding year, it was allocated as an interfund transfer. It was acknowledged as having happened in the following year into the capital reserve fund, and then it is no longer anywhere. So if it was, what I imagine is it was reallocated, but we need to track it. We need to know where. I'm not saying it was $100,000 that got lost. We lost it in the paperwork. We need to know where, because a fund, once a fund is created, you can't just disappear the money out of it without having a paper trail. So there was a fund created, it was a capital reserve fund, there was $100,000 put in it.
So one of the ways we might be able to track this as we do research is to go back to the minutes of the budget committee for last year, the 25-26, and see how that $100,000 was discussed.
Okay, just keeping it on our radar for something that we need to look into going forward, not something that is key to adopting this budget.
Right. So at this point, now that we have found what needs to be changed in our LB10s, etc., and we know that the LB10 that was published is incorrect, what do we have to do? Do we have to republish a corrected LB1, excuse me?
Yes. So this hearing is to make any sort of corrections, discuss it before we adopt it.
Correct.
When the document is adopted, it is resubmitted to the county, and then it will be a part of public record.
Okay.
So we're okay. The board is allowed to correct things and fix missteps. We just need to make sure that before we adopt it, we know what numbers are supposed to be on what lines. Are we good? Everybody get that? There's a question brewing, I feel it. Commissioner Allegria.
On a question. It's, it had been discussed in previous times when so many changes to the budget are made that you have another meeting, which is
so
not
I'm correcting what we did. We're not
Okay.
changing the budget.
Okay, but
We're
still.
fixing the numbers the way that they were reported in the packet.
Mhm.
And that goes in the last column of what the board adopts. As you look at your LBs, that's, the ones that I didn't correct, just move over. The ones that we did correct are changed. And that last column is the budget that this board is adopting.
No, I understand
So
that.
I
I just wanted to propose, because I thought that's why we had several meetings, is that when you change numbers to a proposed budget, then you have another meeting to make sure that they're correct. Because now we're on whatever date is, June 25th.
So I will add the comment.
Commissioner Montero.
Yes. Okay. I will add the comment that motion was made to have another meeting with the corrected numbers, and the budget committee did not agree to it.
So at this moment, I have a question for Executive Director Carr. Chief Operating Officer Geisler printed out some new forms. Do those have all the corrected numbers on them, or do they not?
They are corrected. However, for whatever reason, we can't print them.
The LB10.
Okay.
And so,
Never mind.
In the question I looked at, the line on page 30, 19 is supposed to be $1,725,389. It's $1,725,389. The balance at the end is supposed to be $6,958,427. It's $6,948,27. This is just wrong.
You're
verbiage.
correct.
So what we'll do is we'll check this version against this version,
No,
and then we'll make sure it's correct, and we need to be able to print it out.
no, I don't think that's the way we operate.
Okay, so
Okay,
at this
well,
point,
we can correct.
at this point, what we have in front of us is the budget as it was presented during the public hearing in this official document. So what the board is going to adopt is going to be with the corrections in the last column. So we're not redoing any packets. You use what you have there and you fix the last column. That is all that is being changed, is that last column.
Got it.
Are we good? Everybody understand what the process is? We're not going back in history. This is accepted as a part of our packet. And it is okay. That's how things can happen. And we're just moving forward with the corrected numbers in the final column so that we can submit the correct numbers, adopt the correct budget that was intended to be in the packet, and moving forward. That means we're not changing, that's the difference. We're not changing the budget. We're just correcting the numbers as presented. Commissioner Stolberg.
So if we approve this document goes forward, will it be transmitted then to the county or the state electronically, or, because I'm concerned about some of the formatting things, it's illegible.
The online form that is filled, we'll fix it, and then it's also delivered to the county in whatever format they ask for it.
Thank you.
So, but it will be legible, and then it will become part of our public record, and we will make sure that the document that is posted online is correctly formatted and legible for the public.
And will we receive a copy of that final?
It will be part of the budget hearing record, yes. Commissioner.
So I would suggest that the corrective, or excuse me, the budget package with the approved column filled in, the adopted column filled in, that package be in our packet for next month's meeting so that we can see that everything got updated.
It's part of, it'll be part of the
It'll be
minutes.
part of the record.
Yeah. Okay. Any other further board discussion about numbers? Everybody's got what needs to be changed and not changed, fixed in the adopted budget column. We're good. Betty, did you have anything else that you wanted to add, or anything that you might have caught that we haven't caught?
No, but I think in my haste to get this to David, I might have caused this problem. I'm sorry.
No, I don't think so.
No, I think
No, you didn't.
It's all good. No blame or fault needs to be assigned. We just needed to make sure that whatever the budget is that we adopt is what was intended to be adopted.
Yeah.
So that is all we need to do at this point, is making sure that there's no finger pointing needed.
Okay.
Commissioner York.
Physically, what exists right now that is the master copy showing corrections that we will be voting on?
The master copy, we should all have those corrections in front of us, and because Betty's in front of a computer, did you fill in that last column? Or can you? Is that something that you're able to do?
I have done that, yes.
Okay.
And I have it for all of the documents, yes.
Okay.
Okay.
You
Send that to us.
Okay.
Commissioner York.
The reason I ask is when people are making handwritten, it's very possible that a 5 becomes an 8 or
Yes.
whatever. And so there needs to be one that is that's the master.
Yes.
You're right.
That Betty did that, that's great.
Okay. And I just want to make sure that before we do anything else, the LB1, the corrections that are needed on that are the contingency fund money.
Page number, please.
That's page 33, I believe.
39.
39.
Yes. Contingencies, is there another line that needs to be fixed on that? I thought there was, and I only recorded one.
Materials and
Page
services.
39.
On page 39. Materials and services. What's that number?
1,276,295.
I'm sorry, which line?
Supplies, it's page 39, there's none, it's materials and services.
Under the financial summary requirements,
Yeah, over here, yeah.
the
Yeah.
second line.
1,276,295.
$1,276,295.
Yeah, it's $52,000.
Basically,
One person at a time.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Are you good?
Thanks for catching that.
Commissioner Allegria.
Okay, so on this page 39, contingency should be 900,001. So
Correct.
That's going to change.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay, so those are the two lines on the LB1 that need fixing. Right?
Correct.
Okay.
Kathleen, would you just read that number one more time?
1,276,295.
Right.
Same thing, same page. We were just going over the number again.
Two, right here.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, is there any other discussion by the board on the budget?
The only other thing I want on the LB1, just double checking that the FTE count is correct at 28.
Yes.
One of the org charts that you gave us had more than 28 FTEs. I think the one that's in this packet is correct. It has 28.
Okay.
What was that?
That was me, sorry. I was trying to see if I could share my screen. I'm on just one laptop, so I was going to share my screen and show you the spreadsheets.
Do you have to let her?
Are you seeing a screen that I'm sharing?
No.
No, we're not. I think if you just send us the file, that would be the best thing.
Do you have to give her permission to share? Jason?
What's that?
Do you have to give her permission to share?
I do not. She has it.
Okay. Okay.
Procedural question.
Commissioner Montero.
In approving the budget, are we also approving the org chart? And the changes that we were told to be made to the org chart?
It's all part of the budget, yes.
So I would like to make sure we look at that org chart, which is on page 29.
Yeah, there was an error in this.
Because this org chart is different than one that was submitted to us earlier. You've got two bus supervisors and one that was submitted to us earlier.
Yeah, there's an error in this. The transportation support specialist is supposed to be 2, and the driver is supposed to be 7 and 8. We did not reduce the number of drivers. We reduced the number of TSSs.
So the board is then, in approving this budget, the board is approving the elimination of 2 jobs. Am I understanding that
Correct.
correctly? The
that's
supervisor over the TSSs and
reflected-
1 TSS.
Yes, and that's reflected in the budget.
Okay, so I will then express my concern. We've just had some meetings where we've talked about customer service. The TSS people are the people who are the forefront of customer service. And I have a real reservation about reducing the number of customer service people this coming year. I do not think I could approve that.
Commissioner Stolberg?
I don't understand the changes that were just mentioned, where it occurs on this chart. Could you clarify?
Sure, I'm sorry. On the transportation support specialists, there's 3 of them there, it's supposed to be 2, and on the driver's bullets, it says 7, it's supposed to be 8. The intent here was to maintain the number of drivers, reduce the number of supervisors, and in this case, increase the efficiency of the TSSs. I don't want to go into the detail of that, but there's a lot of redundancy in that area, and we need to look at improvements in that area, as you pointed out, Matthew. We will be contracting with a call service to cover those outside areas, if that's approved. But there's just a lot of redundancy there, and so we're looking to make that more efficient. We're always looking for efficiencies in how we operate, and that was one area that was apparent.
Okay, so just for clarification, under the tree where the bus supervisor is on the right-hand side,
Yes.
and the leg goes down to transportation support specialist,
Yes.
that will be 2.
Yes.
And under that, the bus drivers in that section will be 8.
So we have 15 drivers.
So a total of 15 drivers.
Budgeted for.
Budgeted for, right. Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Keeple?
Are the employees that are sitting right in there, are those the transportation specialists?
Commissioner York?
It's our role as the board to set the values for the organization. Customer service is very important, but the actual operations of how that's going to be implemented is the role of the executive director. So I appreciate having this information. I don't think that changing one role is really our decision.
Commissioner Stolberg?
As it was explained to us in the training of the ODOT training on becoming a better transit board member, we in this board don't micromanage the operations, but everything that happens in the operations we're responsible for. We are responsible for everything that happens within the district organization. And to give input to this I feel is appropriate, even though that we're not making the individual decisions in the management.
Commissioner York?
General philosophy in elected bodies, nonprofit bodies, is you set the goals and you monitor the outcomes. Are the operations giving us the outcomes that we want? So I think it's a fine point difference, and people can have different points of view on how to interpret that.
To wrap this up, because we need to make sure that we're staying on target, I would say that everything that everybody has said is true and is valuable. The board does approve, as part of the budget, the org chart and the assigned staff FTEs for that. And it is the assignment of the executive director to distribute those FTEs. FTE, full-time equivalent, does not mean one employee. So it can be broken up in different ways. FTE is not one person, it is a full-time equivalent. And so that's important for us to remember. And as has been said before, we have set customer service as a priority for our district. And so it is appropriate for us to draw attention to the fact that we are concerned that our primary customer service area is being cut. And so we voice our concerns, and we, let the executive director know that this is a priority focus of the board. You're cutting there. That is a concern of the board. It is then his job to execute to his best ability, and we keep an eye on it. And if we continue to have complaints or concerns in that area, then we address that with corrective actions with our one employee in the way that he manages his employees. So that is how the board oversees their one employee. So all of this is appropriate, and we will need to make a decision as to whether we are okay with the way that FTEs are allocated in this. That is not one person per FTE. The way it is right now, frequently that is how that is in actuality, but that is not what an FTE is. So, just for clarification. And if nobody else has any comment, I will also say that having customer service be one of our priorities and having that be an area that we are cutting personnel is concerning to me as well. And it is the duty of our executive director to fulfill our priorities as we set out for him in our strategies and goals. So, anything further in that department? Okay. So, any other discussion regarding the budget by the board? Going once, give the board the same opportunities to change their mind as public. Going twice, looking around the room. All right, budget hearing is closed. I would now entertain a motion regarding, where's my thing? Resolution number 2604, and Erica has there will be 3 motions with this resolution. 4 motions, thank you. So resolution number 2604, in the matter of adopting the annual operating budget for fiscal year 2026-27, making appropriations and imposing and categorizing taxes. I would hope that one of these motions is going to be to read by title only, and then make the appropriate motions in that regard. We have a script. You don't have to make it up. We have it on paper. So we just need somebody that would be willing to make those motions.
I can make motions, but I got to tell you, at this point, all the numbers in resolution 2604 are wrong.
Okay.
They have not been corrected.
Okay, we can correct those.
So
here's the motions.
Do we need to read the board resolution by title only?
Somebody.
No. Yeah.
Yeah, somebody needs to make that motion to adopt the resolution by title, or to read the resolution by title only.
Okay. I move that do we do that before or after we correct the numbers? Don't we need to correct the numbers first?
Well, the numbers are as what we corrected in the budget hearing.
Okay. So we are assured that the numbers, materials and services, is increased, and contingency is
$1,276,295.
right.
I sent the document to David.
Okay.
And the contingencies in the resolution are reduced to $900,001.
Correct.
And that department total is
So
not
the
correct.
resolution is slightly different than what the LB is, because the resolution does not include unappropriated funds.
Oh, that's right.
Specific budget
That's right.
instructions. So
Okay.
that number does not include any of the unappropriated ending balances.
Okay, so I move that we read resolution 2026-04 by title only.
Second. Kathleen People, Commissioner. I would second that motion.
Motion to read by title only, resolution in order number 2604, made by Commissioner Montero and seconded by Commissioner Teeple. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Thank you.
So somebody has to read it.
In the matter of the board resolution, in the matter of adopting the annual operating budget for fiscal year 2026-2027, making appropriations and imposing and categorizing taxes, resolution in order number 2026-04.
I move that we adopt resolution 2026-04. Yeah. Well, we had,
For the fiscal year.
oh. Yeah. I move that we adopt the budget as corrected for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2026, in the total sum of $6,958,427.
Motion has been made. Is there a second?
Seconded, Kathleen People.
Motion was made by Commissioner Montero and seconded by Commissioner Teeple. Any discussion? So that would be including all of the updated information that were
Yes,
provided
as
in the
corrected.
adopted
It's what was in the
column
motion.
today. Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Roll call. Can you do a roll call vote, please? Sorry.
Okay.
All right, so Commissioner York,
Aye.
Commissioner Alegria,
Aye.
Commissioner Montero,
Yes.
Chair Cleese,
Yes.
Commissioner Stolberg,
Aye.
Commissioner Teeple.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Okay. I move that we adopt Board Resolution 2026-04.
There's more motions.
Yeah, but we,
okay.
we read the resolution, we now have to adopt.
Okay.
Now it's for doing the appropriations.
Right, so there's more
Yes.
pieces to the resolution before we adopt the resolution. Okay. Either way, we're adopting the resolution. Motion has been made to adopt resolution 2026-04. Is there a second?
I'll second it. Commissioner Teeple.
Motion has been made by Commissioner Montero and seconded by Commissioner Teeple. All those in favor signify, roll call, sorry, resolution.
Commissioner York,
Aye.
Commissioner Alegria,
Aye.
Commissioner Montero,
Yes.
Chair Cleese,
Yes.
Commissioner Teeple,
Aye.
and Commissioner Stolberg.
Aye.
Okay, so we've had the motion of adoption, we had the motion of making appropriations, now the motion of imposing the tax levy.
Do you want the verbiage?
I move, yeah. Okay. I move to impose the taxes provided for in the adopted budget at the rate of .1620 per 1,000 of assessed value for the permanent rate tax levy, and in the amount of 0 for the general obligation bonds debt service.
Commissioner Teeple, I will second that.
Motion was made by Commissioner Montero and seconded by Commissioner Teeple to adopt the tax levy as stated. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. I'm sorry, roll call.
Sorry, I just wanted Commissioner York,
Aye.
Commissioner Olivia,
Aye.
Commissioner Montero,
Yes.
Chair Pleasing,
Yes.
Commissioner Teeple,
Aye.
and Commissioner Stolberg.
Aye.
I've never seen this one before. The measure 5. Okay. I move to categorize the taxes imposed for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2026 as the general government category with a rate of $10 per $1,000 of assessed value.
Second.
Motion was made by Commissioner Montero and seconded by Commissioner Stolberg. Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sorry,
Roll call.
roll call.
Thank you.
So used to this.
Aye.
Commissioner Olivia,
Aye.
Commissioner Montero,
Yes.
Chair Pleasing,
Yes.
Commissioner Teeple,
Aye.
and Commissioner Stolberg.
Aye.
We have gotten through that.
All right. Thank you all for going through and getting all of those motions as part of that resolution in place to adopt our budget for fiscal year 2026-2027. Now we're on to the next, if I can find on my goodness paper. Financial report.
All right. Line item definitions are here. I'm just going to ask, would you like to see these at every single board pack, or do you feel comfortable in dropping that? We just produce it and attach it every time. I'm just asking you for the sake of saving a couple trees.
Commissioner Montero.
As I was looking through this, what occurred to me is I think that this is the most detail we've seen on the AR aging and AP aging, which I really like, but I personally don't think the board needs to see the full thing. However, once we get the finance committee, then I think this is appropriate to come before the finance committee.
Can we clarify the question? So you're talking about the line item definitions, or? Okay,
Oh, line item.
So the line item definitions were specifically asked for by the board a couple meetings ago, generalizing a couple, I'm using it very loosely, not only 2 meetings ago. So I would say that at least for now, we should include them so that we have them to refer to till we know them rote. And there's also some corrections that will need to be made to it. So.
Okay.
But yes, I think
Sorry,
for
I
now,
missed
that
the-
was a request by the board that that be included for.
Yeah,
Yes.
I agree.
So that was the question.
And I think that's but an appropriate comment in terms of having a finance committee on looking at what you want presented and how you would like that presented for full transparency. We're only providing this full level of detail. We don't think it's necessary. In fact, it's probably too much. But we run these reports with what resources we have, and as I mentioned earlier, Victoria's doing the best job she can, and rather than trying to run this, filter it, and do those things, I just asked her to provide the entire report for now. We are going to, working with the committee and other methods, to come up with streamlined financial reporting system, and I'll talk about that a little bit more later. But yeah, so this is just the AR aging, accounts payable. So this is just for your information. Any questions about that? And then the reconciliation of the credit card, same thing. This is what we have available to us today. We will be returning to reports as soon as we can. You can see the accounts here, show how much money we have in each account. I would mention that we met with the bank, Lewis and Clark Bank yesterday, and talked about how these are structured and how we do transfers, and we will be coming back with recommendations for some improvements in that area as well. You have any questions on the financial report?
Commissioner Montero.
First of all, a comment, and that is I just would like for everybody to know that on the credit card reconciliation, Victoria does an absolutely fabulous job in her attention to detail. I see this report, I see the credit card reconciliation every time I sign AP checks. And I go through them myself, but I can see that Victoria is just paying absolute detail to everything, from making sure there are receipts, making sure there are signatures, et cetera, et cetera. So I think we can have very good confidence in how that is all being handled. As I read this more detailed AR report, it posed a couple of questions for me. I didn't realize that we were selling transit tokens to the sheriff. But also what I can see from this is that with the sheriff and with some other, maybe another entity, but Tillamook County Transportation District, we provide all this stuff and then invoice them? Is that what happens? Because I see like Tillamook County is in arrears at 90 days, and the sheriff has some arrears at 90 days. So I'm curious as to us providing the tokens before we get payment. It seems to me if this is a monthly thing, that there should be payment, provide the token, payment, so that we don't have to worry about the AR on this. But that's probably too much detail for the board.
Director Park.
So this particular one with the sheriff was developed years ago as a way to provide them a way to give people being released for jail transportation so that they could go home or they could go. Rather than selling them tickets and reconciling tickets, they were provided a number of tokens. So they have these metal tokens, and when they give them out, we get them and collect them. We count the number of those we get, we bill them for them, and we return the tokens to them.
Oh, I see.
So that way we don't have a process where we have to produce things, track them. It's a really rudimentary system of, we get 12 coins, we're going to charge them for 12 coins. We can change that at this point because it's such a small volume, and it does provide quite community service. I honestly, I haven't looked at this number. It's not been a priority at this point, but I would take a look at it and see. Like I can't even find it.
Okay, I would propose that the future finance committee be involved in.
And I would just say that this is a small amount. It's not worth the energy to look into it. And I would say that this is a very long-standing program. The Sheriff's Department has actually invested a lot of their own money into creating what they call poker chips that they give people that are. They did it. They paid for the poker chips. They have their logos on it and their information. And when people use it, they're turned in and then they're counted. And the Tillamook County part of it is not the same thing. It is NWADA reimbursements. It's medical, non-emergency medical ride that we provide and then bill them for because they are the operators of that. That resource, and so it's not something that we can bill ahead of time.
Got it.
They can't prepay, it's a post-pay type of thing. It's a reimbursement for services.
Right.
Okay, so just clarification for everybody about how those things work. So, okay. I like the fact that in the interim we are receiving the statements, so we're able to keep our eyes on the balances. We're able to get to know a little bit more about what the day-to-day spends and receives are for the district, and these are not the in-depth financial reports that we would like to have, but give us the ability to keep an eye on our accounts.
Yes.
So these are not financials that we're accepting, these are just reports that we're able to review in the interim. So, moving on, we're a little bit ahead of schedule, so I am going to give us a quick recess. We're going to recess from now until 11:10. Give us an opportunity to take care of personal needs and come back and be ready to handle the rest of the agenda.
Right? Because it doesn't
We're always
matter
struggling to find the
where you
right
go.
snack,
I
so
can
we'll
serve
add that to our.
I would have ordered that.
Pop-Tarts?
Oh, that's my
Well,
favorite.
you got that, Erica?
These are good.
You got that? Okay.
I
did.
I've never
It's
seen them.
Erica's.
A particular flavor?
It's like an
No, Magic Spoon, not
But
Pop-Tarts.
it doesn't, right, but the words
Yeah.
don't.
They're called Magic Spoon.
Magic spoon.
Magic spoon. Write that down.
Okay, this is part of the public meeting now, everybody.
Okay, we're back in session.
Calling the meeting back to order again, not discussing Magic Spoon anything. It is 11:13, and we are on item 12, continued business. So I'll get to that. Page 77 in your packet. So we have a report on the complaint filed by our paratransit rider, Mr. Stolberg. Executive Director Carr has updated some of the report that is in our packet. And I just want to kind of go over some of the things. At the end of the last meeting, there was some question about the information and whether it lined up with everybody's recollections the same way. And so I would like to just review a couple things that I noticed that could bear some clarification. And I'm working from memory because I have this highlighted on my electronic brain that is at home, but I'm going to look at the paper and see if I can remember all of the things. So in the letter from Mr. Stolberg, there is a timeline and information regarding the order of how things happened, and there's a couple things that I want to call to our attention just so that we're keeping those in mind, because we're talking about our riders who are human beings who have experiences, and we need to deal with this in a way that is trauma informed so that we are not creating more trauma in the way that we handle things. So the letter notes that the original pickup schedule was to be at between 5 and 5:30, and at 5:02 they received a phone call that said that the ride was most likely going to be between 5:30 and 5:45. That's a 45-minute window. Then at 5:59 the ride still hadn't arrived, and so the rider called and got no response. That's basically an hour after they had originally potentially expected the ride to arrive. That's an hour of worry and concern. No response, and didn't hear anything until 6:17 when the rider finally came. That's an hour and 17 minutes that the rider was waiting for a ride. Just to put things into perspective for all of us so that we understand the personal side of this. Operations is a different thing. This is the personal side of things. So there were contacts made at 5:02, and that is the only contact that I see in here, that the rider received a contact at 5:02 saying that the ride would be late and be there between 5:30 and 5:45. One time the person was contacted to let them know that it was late.
I would add that the additional worry, and I can put myself in this position, if I hadn't heard by 5:59 and I tried to call, and at this point now I'm sitting there going, are they coming? Are they not coming? What's happening? That's the kind of turmoil, not knowing what can happen. And so I can imagine that was felt at 6:17.
Right. So I just, all of the things in perspective. The last contact that they had happened over an hour before that ride actually happened. And so what we have from staff and from Director Carr is the operations side of things, and we need to keep in mind the human element part of things and the ridership that we're serving there. And so I understand that this specific matter has not been closed. We're still working on those things, but I want to make sure that we're talking about the same details So we're not talking about a 17-minute, a driver was late by 17 minutes. We're talking about an hour and 17 minutes that there was no contact, an hour and 15 minutes that there was no contact and the person didn't know if they were getting a ride or not. This complaint is one thing, and the way that it is being documented is a separate thing, and then whether there is an ADA complaint here is another thing that I am not going to get into because I am not an attorney and I don't want to step in those waters. But I do want to say that the board at the last meeting asked for this to be followed up on, asked for the executive director to continue to be able to come to some sort of resolution in the board. As part of that process, the recommendation that I made was that we form a committee so that we can not have these types of things happen, so that we can plan better for our paratransit riders going into the future. To me, that was not a solution to this, but something that was instigated by us to find a way to improve our services by including the riders that use that service in a feedback loop, so that we can continuously figure out how we can make that service better and fit the needs of our riders. So to me, they were connected but separate. An ongoing committee that includes paratransit riders to make sure that those services are being performed and provided in a way that is not only checking boxes for what we are required to do, but also providing the best service that we can to the ridership that qualifies as paratransit riders. So just setting this up, as that was my intent with that, and so that Executive Director Carr can tell us where we're at, how we're proceeding, and what's going on.
So, Matthew, I apologize again. There were breakdowns in our process, and there are things that need to be improved in our process, and the way we communicate is not clear, and there's the way we give a window as opposed to a specific time. Our interpretation was one thing, our customers are interpreting it differently. We need to adopt the customer interpretation because we're looking at it through the wrong lens. So I appreciate you bringing that to us. We have taken a number of steps to ensure we have coverage for that. We are taking, and we've gone through it with all of our staff on how to do this better and how to monitor it better. And more people are looking at this, and more people are monitoring this. So it's not one person's responsibility, it's several people. They're looking at it, someone's backing them up, and we do a review of that. So for that, I appreciate it. Some of the other things we're looking at is, working with an after-hour call system. So, we get off work and there's a transition, people are going home and such.
Director Carr, I'm going to ask you to address the board on the rest of this. This is not something that came from Commissioner Stolberg. This is a board's concern.
Well, I wanted to give you my personal comments from the human aspect. But we have looked at we've looked at our process and we've looked at our policies. We'll be making corrections to those. We are looking at an after-hour call system. We are, it's in that transition from when we get off work to when people are still out on the road. We don't have the staffing to cover our full length. We start at 5 in the morning, we end at 8 o'clock at night. We don't staff for all that. So this would help us close that gap, and our monitoring will be better. We're looking at other technology. GTFS Flex is a system where our buses are currently being monitored, our full-size fixed route buses. So with the Flex system that's coming out, we're going to look into seeing if that's possible. There are questions about paratransit being put on a map, so we have to kind of go through that process and have an understanding of what information we're putting out, as opposed to a I mean, showing a vehicle on a route is one thing, showing a vehicle is going from place to place is another, so we have to work through that. There are mobile apps. We would love to have some of these mobile apps. Right now, our mobile apps are not very good. And one works really good at fairs, one works really good at where the bus is. Well, it actually doesn't work very well at all for where the bus is. But we have these. The investment into this type of technology is significant, and so what we do is we have to look at what our kind of define our use case, and then we'll look to see if there are applications out there that we can afford and we can implement, particularly with our eco-lane system that we already have. We do have some things that we want to look at in terms of there are things in our current system we can toggle on or off, where they can select to get an email or a notification. And so we're looking at our customer service side saying, do you want this feature turned on or off? We're continuing to look at this as a specific issue, but we're also going to be looking at forming that committee, having participation from a broader spectrum of folks, and being able to look at not just one type of thing, but the service overall. But I don't have a timeline for that at this point. I have other, but we're not going to put this on the shelf. We're going to keep this up in the forefront of what we're doing. And, that's all I have at this point. Any questions?
Commissioner Montero.
Yeah, I brought before the board several meetings ago the interaction that I had with a gentleman who was waiting for paratransit at CMH, and what he had told me about his experiences and the fact that even that day he was waiting and had not been contacted. And I think I mentioned at the last board meeting that I would contact him and see if he was interested in being part of this committee, etc., work group, whatever. And I thought that something was going to be happening. I contacted him. He was concerned about, he's a senior citizen, he lives in assisted living. He was concerned that there would be no blowback on his services. So if he, and that's a kind of concern anybody's going to have if they have a complaint. How is it going to affect my level of service? But I did end up sending his, he did agree, and I told him he could expect a phone call. And it's my understanding that he has not yet heard from anybody. So I do not like to leave a customer who's made a commitment to us hanging. At least keep them informed. So I'm a little concerned about that.
Could I ask if you just forward that to me again so I can have it on top of my inbox? I'll deal with this immediately.
I'll do it right now.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner York.
Can I ask a question? Maybe I should know the answer to this, but I don't. Do we have a process to track larger capital improvements that we might find desirable? So, for example, I'm including capital improvements, purchasing a system, like, you know, a tracking system, those kinds of things, so that the board can look at what are the things we have identified that we would find desirable for operations or for customer service, whatever, and we're sort of on top of how are those being prioritized, how are they being budgeted for, so that we're, well, when I was on the city council in Corvallis, there was a capital improvement like that, and we reviewed that when at budget time. it wasn't the only time you necessarily saw it. There was a process because you're serving a large community where people could have sent in suggestions for that. But I can't, in my mind right now, identify the comparison of buses and IT needs and those kinds of things, though I know that they're all there. So is there some process or some ongoing list where we are able to look at those items in different categories and talk about the board's priorities?
So I will answer that question in that I think that there is a general wish list that exists right now amongst, each of us and staff and the team. And I think that the strategic plan, timeline, and implementation should include all of that kind of thing. And so even if there's an old one someplace, based on the fact that we are undertaking a strategic plan, that is the type of thing that should be in there, and it should be detailed, and it should be, include those kinds of things so that we as a board can help prioritize. So it's not only staff gets to prioritize which ones, but the board has an influence on what are our priorities as a board for the district. And so that should be part of those implementation plans and timelines. Okay, any further discussion on this matter? Commissioner Montero.
I also think that we need to make it easier for people to know how to contact with us with their complaints and their service disconnects. You can't fix something if you don't know what's wrong. And if people do not feel invited, if they do not feel comfortable, and I've got our website up right now, and it is not easy to find any place for me to file a complaint. I can look at contact us, and that doesn't really have a complaint. I found the tab for Ride Assist ADA Paratransit, and it says if you have questions or comments, email us at parrot@ridethebus.org. That link does not work. I'm clicking on it and it doesn't work. I see nothing on here that, there's one that says title, if I go to accessibility, Title 6 and ADA discrimination complaint form. I go to that and it's a discrimination complaint form. It is not a service complaint form. And people have definitely two different ideas and outlooks on those. But there's no place on here that says, give us your feedback. There's no place where we're inviting or we even look like we care about customer service. That's a comment I'm going to make.
Commissioner Solberg.
Since this was brought up, I don't know if this is the time or place to discuss this, but I've had 3 community members approach me that said that they sent emails to the questions and comments link on our website and got no return. And I've had 4 other people from the community ask me exactly how to find the SETD page on the website, because they don't know that you have to click the logo. There's no indication that that's what you need to do. I did it by accident. So our communication with the public through our website is basically non-existent right now, because you have to really purposely try random things to get there. And that concerns me a lot. So, since it came up.
So, I think that is not only connected to this. I think that is one of the board strategies and goals, is to improve our communication with the public and the feedback loop. So I'm going to separate it from this in a way and say that it is part of this, that this, in order to improve this, that needs to be improved, But that is a huge issue that we don't have a better way for our public to communicate with our board, with our district, and all the different things. And we can't, to me, it is important that we don't ask the public to hunt for a link to contact us, that we are promoting that as something that we want them to do. And in order to promote that, it needs to be upfront, easy, and not just on a web page that is accessible on the computer, but that it stays there when you look at it from your phone, because that's where people are going to be most likely needing to find that information. I just want to kind of wrap up this item, because this item is specific and we are veering off into the more general what needs to be fixed, that is more part of our strategic plan, and that I want us to keep that in our minds, but that we need to address this specific and what steps are being taken. And so one last comment from Director Carr as far as specifically the letter of complaint and what these next steps are and what is being done to move us forward in this way.
So thank you for your input. We certainly want to do things better, and websites are often difficult to navigate, and where you put complaints, if it's the first thing you click on, it's not necessarily the best thing, but there should be a clearer way, and we will certainly have that discussion. We are moving forward with the continued investigation of after-hours calls and with the technology, and but I think Chair Klesick really hit the nail on the head when she talked about the human element, and that our rapport with our customers, I believe, is really good. We know them by their names. We talk to them all the time. When I looked at to see how frequently we have things like this, fortunately it's not very frequent, but when it does occur, it is impactful. And so we are going to put emphasis on that and continue to do that going forward as a priority.
Thank you. I would just want to make sure that we are taking those steps to form that committee that includes staff and paratransit riders to see where and how we can improve our service specifically to fit the needs of those riders. Commissioner Silbert.
Just one more question. On your report here in the board packet at the conclusion, is this considered to be, this was a completed trip because the rider did get a trip home, but does this fall outside the 1 hour window that is in the policy today? I understand the policy. Is there a policy that gives a 1 hour window for service delivery?
No,
is there a problem with the service?
It's a 30-minute window. It's the way we define it that is problematic for us. Right now, we give a range from 5:30 to 6 o'clock, and we figure we got 30 minutes before and 30 minutes after. So we're giving ourselves an hour and a half. That, to me, is our structural problem. We need to say, okay, if we're going to say it's between 5:30 and 6, your time is 5:45, and that 30-minute clock is, because we've given you a window. If we're outside the window, we're late. And we need to kind of look at how we structured ourselves in a way that we address that, because that's our fundamental, that's one of the fundamental issues. The other fundamental issue is we had one person assigned to this. They, for whatever reason, didn't get to it. It created a gap. So we're going to fill the gap. We're going to look at our policy and how we define this, and then we're going to collect the data. When we have somebody late, we're going to track it as late. And if we see a significant number of this or significant impact on this, we're going to take additional steps.
Okay, so one other question I have. I was not the only person on the bus that day. Was there any correspondence between the other rider and the bus district?
I did not follow up on that. I'll take a look.
Okay. She did not call us.
details from her.
Can you speak up, please?
She did not contact us. I don't have the details of what she.
We know who it is. We can reach out to them. So Jennifer?
Yeah, we reached out. There just was no, she did not ask us to pursue it.
Okay.
Yeah, but we did express.
I think that there's some very important and valid points that have been made today about how scheduling is interpreted and on-timeness is being interpreted. And so I look forward to continued reports on our services and their timeliness and how those are being improved for the board going forward in our board reports. So, Avenue residents training. Item 12B. Mr. Jones.
Well, yeah, let's see, I just recently visited, my third visit this year to Avenue and Seaside, and sat with 20 individuals and talked about our services. Talked about what some of their challenges were going to be and what they are, and they were different individuals than the last time that I visited with them as well. So it was a really good visit. I got a lot of valuable information. None of them at this point right now are willing to get to the fixed route. They're just very interested and continue to be interested in demand response services such as paratransit. They really miss the opportunity for having the microtransit, but would like to see that come back at some point in time. And they were very interested in the weekend service because, as you can imagine, when you're at a care facility or an assisted living facility, they have transportation services themselves, but those were very regimented in their schedules, more group outings and so forth. So they are looking into potentially scheduling a few more weekend service trips with us. So at this point, that's where we're at there. I have a good communication rapport with them, and we're trying to dial that down to a single point of contact. So there's really good, quick, and easy access to information.
Excellent, thank you.
Yep.
Appreciate that. Does the board have any questions for Mr. Jones on the training and outreach to Avenir? All right. The Rural Health Coalition. Director Carr, you had some information about scheduling and timing of those meetings.
Yeah, I'm trying to find the email. Here it is. So, Paul Lindbergh yesterday sent me an invitation to attend a meeting. Meeting is Friday at 9 a.m. at Providence Seaside Hospital, Education Room A. If anyone would like to get the agenda or other attachments, I can forward that to you.
Did you find out in the interim the frequency and regularly?
Meet with them tomorrow. I'm actually going to come in. I have a schedule out. I'll come into this meeting, meet with them, get that information, see what they're looking for in terms of our participation, and report back to them.
They meet every 2 months on the third Friday of the month from 9 to 11. And the meetings rotate as to location, and they are also available by virtual attendance.
Okay. So as of the last meeting, Director Carr was looking into that and participating at his level, and there was an invitation made for the board to also send a participant. I would like to, instead of creating a permanent committee, I'd like to create an ad hoc liaison, and in the interim, while we figure out the value for the board participation, appoint Commissioner Montero to the interim rural health, as the interim rural health committee liaison to the board. We can determine through attendance and reports between the collaborative reports between the Commissioner Montero and Director Carr, whether there's value for the board to continue to participate or whether it is a purely staff role that needs to be a member of this coalition. So I hope to answer that question in the next, let's see, I think every 2 months. In the next 6 months, whether we need to continue that as a permanent liaison or whether it will be just a temporary one to establish that communication. So that's where we're at with that. Commissioner Swope, if you accept, sorry.
I accept.
Oops. There I am, volunteering again. Commissioner Stolberg.
Which Friday is the meeting?
Every 2 months, the third Friday.
So that's coming up tomorrow?
Correct.
Okay, the 26th.
And David, if you need the connection to Microsoft Teams, I can do that.
Okay. So I'm hoping that with collaboration between the two of you, we can figure out to best make that our representation the most effective on that position, especially since it was requested. So that takes care of that item. Moving on to interim CFO contract and new business, item number 13.
Okay, thank you. The initial contract was to do a state of the district analysis, but we're in a bit of crisis. We have not had CFO services for some time. The traditional methods of hiring, recruiting, vetting, and the state of the current market, if we go through the process and training, learning curve, we could be in jeopardy with a number of things. And I asked Sam 2.5 weeks ago to look into providers of this service. We have looked at a couple of them, and now CFO we have determined would be able to help us with this. The contract is the initial state 2,000, but what I'm proposing today is a 90-day contract for emergency services for $25,000 to allow us to do some triage in where we are, getting a relationship to understand what the board needs and outlining those needs, getting our financial statements, our regulatory and other compliance things in order, and to determine if this is going to be something that would be a cost-effective way to basically outsource our CFO. What the benefits of that? In fact, what I'll do is I have a chance to meet with Kevin Klausner, and Kevin's here today. So I asked him if he could speak for a minute. We do have a presentation on. It was in board packet.
Yes.
It should be his resume. The company's resume here. I will send that to you and allow him to.
It's in the packet.
Okay, it's in the packet.
Yes. Yeah.
Do we have it?
It's printed out. Yes.
Okay. Sorry about that.
Director, if you need it, I've got that presentation on it.
All right. Kevin, if you would kind of walk through your presentation. We've had actually conversations in the last few days about, we've developed the scope of work, we understand what we need, we'll be able to share that in the form of a contract. Is that in here?
No. We don't. There's no scope of work there.
All right. Okay. Can you print a copy of that contract out? Okay, please. All right. You have the floor.
Thank you, Director, Madam Chairman, Commissioners. Thank you for letting me attend this morning. And I can tell by some of the conversations, especially when it came to the budget and some other numbers asked, that we need some help here. And now CFO, we are a outsourcing company, not a staffing company. And there's a distinct difference. Is you use us for as little or as much as you need us. So the director has shared a few things with me, and I know that the finance manager left, and when someone in that position leaves, there's a lot of things that get through the cracks, and things don't get done timely, they don't get done accurately. And I can see that you've got a great gal in Victoria, so bless her for picking up some slack there and helping you with it. But we're industry agnostic, and we help nonprofits, governmental, and industry clients, across all sizes and shapes. We have a great consultant we'd like, if the commissioners would like to give the director permission to move forward, is that has governmental experience. We're not the type where we might have somebody that can do that or whatever. We've got the expertise, the education of that person to come in, and she can come in running. One of the things we want to do is, as the director said, there's some triage. I know that there's some reimbursements that need to be solved and accounted for. We want to get the processes, get the monthly financial statements done, and so maybe not the next board meeting, but it could be, is that you'd have a formal board packet presented where if the finance committee meets, with us, the director, the finance committee can see the packet ahead of time, and then, like the situation we had this morning with maybe, some errors or the corrected version didn't get put into the packet, those things can be eliminated. So where your time as commissioners then can be spent doing what, commissioners need to be doing, looking, approving, and, asking the more operational. But, so all of our consultants are W-2. For me, I joined the company as a consultant, but moved up in the firm. One time was a partner with the firm, but we're all operational accountants. I've been a CPA for 47 years, and that's all I breathe is finance and accounting. I've sat in board meetings, I've sat in your seats, and I've sat in the director's seat. And so we have a great understanding of what it takes. But I think if when we come in, we're going to first do some things to get the ship uprighted in terms of if we've got reimbursements that need to be done, anything else, grant, balances, reconciliations. Your financial statements should reflect a governmental agency's set of financial statements, and there is a difference between fund accounting, governmental accounting, than there is for profit accounting, and beyond terminology. So one of the issues I think that came up earlier was what happened in that 100,000 appropriation. I think I probably know the answer, but I'm going to take a look first, but because that's the thing with fund accounting is, we work in terms of encumbrance, appropriations, and that's not what we do in for-profit accounting. So the person we have in mind, if you elect to go forward with us, unequivocally can come in and immediately start making these improvements and getting you the financial information that you need. Because what I'd like to have is the next time you meet or the first time you're presented the numbers is, we're all human, so mistakes can be made, but I want you to have the confidence in your numbers so you can make the decisions, a good decision. We like to talk financial visibility. You need accurate, timely, and reliable data to manage this organization, and that's what we would provide. We come into our client's place of business. consultant we have in mind lives down in the Portland area, so initially she'll spend some time on site, and then we'll do some hybrid remote combination if that's approved with the Board of Commissioners and the director.
Did you want to look at any of these slides? Or
Well,
you kind of covered all that?
you can, if you want to just push up, I'm not a slide reader. We're
Okay.
And I just want to
Yeah.
also point out that this was part of the packet. We don't need to go through it
Yeah,
page by page.
right,
And I
yeah.
would much prefer to have
Yeah.
your summary than go through the
Yeah.
slides that we
Yeah.
already had an opportunity to look at.
That's good.
I
So,
agree.
so part of it, the director mentioned initially, we were talking about a current state analysis. That's where we come in and take a look at, the records, not only the numbers, but, do you have internal controls? What kind of risk management do you have to protect, your data? Do we have separation of duties, for instance? The person cutting the checks, as I think you know, because I see you're smiling, is you've got to separate that duty. Someone can prepare it, but they shouldn't be the one signing it, because that's where fraud and embezzlement becomes a problem. But I would just say everything I've heard, what I've observed today, there's nothing going on here that's not in our bivouac on how we can help you. The one thing we do not do is we do not do taxes, and we do not do assurance services. Assurance services in accounting are audit reports, reviews, and compilations. So we can help with all the prep to get it to that point, and then you hand it over to your third-party firm that does that. Yeah.
So I have a question.
Sure.
Understood that you don't do the auditing. Do you help are you available to help resolve audit issues that are found?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's a great question, because we can get it to the point where you hand it off to the firm that's done the audit, and then we can, answer any questions that come up or do clarification or, whatever that question, might be. Great question.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any questions?
Yeah, any questions?
So, this is the first time we've received this comment.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The board has not been informed on what the further conversation has been, other than the state of the affairs.
The current state of, yeah.
So if you would summarize what is being proposed for you to do during the 90-day period that the executive director is proposing.
Yeah, and great question. If I can augment that question with the comment that the unique thing about us is we only charge by the hour, okay? Now, you got the directors asked for a limitation on the billable time, so we work within that. So that gives us the robustness to move with you. So there might be some weeks where you need X amount of hours. There might be a following week that might not need as much, right? So you're not signing a fixed, like a 1-year fixed, something, within that cap that you asked for. If we come under that cap, we're definitely going to work for that. I just don't like spending other people's money, and we've got the public, public funding. So, we'll get the job done with the least amount of hours going into it. But I think the reason this is a great question is I've made out a little list of what I thought we would do would be just stabilize some things. So we mentioned the reimbursements, but I'm just certain there's a lot of other things that need to be caught up and accounted for and reconciled that, say, Victoria's not doing, okay? And then we would do what, if we're behind on some things, in accounting we call that catch-up, so we'll catch up things, bring them current. And then while we're doing this, we're going to prepare a report. We'll prepare that current state analysis report as a part of this contract, okay? So we'll come back, to the Board of Commissioners with a report on, our findings, this is what we see as deficiencies, and then we would give our recommendations on how to fix those things or how to remedy them. But the other thing too in life is I like to always report on what you're doing well. In as much as we, got a little fire going on here, that doesn't mean the whole place is burning down and we're doing some good things. But so our report will be comprehensive in that. And then back to the board packet meeting, I love the idea of having a finance committee, to work with, and our consultant will work with them, and Director Carr. So everyone's on the same page, and before you have a board meeting, some of these things can be talked out, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a line item or a discussion item on your board meeting. So, but anyway, that's in a nutshell. That's how I would go about it. But you've got some things that we got a little emergency room type of things on some issues that we'll address first and get those taken care of. Yeah. And then once down the pike here, then we do have what we call managed accounting services, and that is a fixed fee charge. So once we get things under control, we can then discuss, hey, for X amount of dollars per month, we can provide all this, because once we get things caught up, brought current, and get it on a maintenance level, some of these other things should go away. There's always, it's always going to be a blurb here and there, but we can help with annual budgeting. I think doing, cash flow modeling is also, hey, are we going to have the funds, and when are we going to have them, and when are the funds going out the back door, too, is always important when it comes to decision making. But we can have all those ad hoc augmented reports for you done, too.
I'm going to start the conversation out with questions, because there's 2 questions I would need to ask to start out with. Has our attorney looked at this contract?
This contract was developed in September with SDAO for a personal services agreement that we could have in the event we needed something quickly. This was a template we used, and I sent that to to Matt, and he reviewed this, and the format and the structure and terms and conditions have been basically reviewed by the attorney. So this specific contract has not, we have complied with all the facets of the template that we had, and we have put together a scope of work that we feel is pretty comprehensive. We feel that it's a short-term contract. I looked up the specific ORS statute 279.065 allows us to enter into an agreement like this for $25,000. And we do this for 90 days. The idea is to come in, triage where we are, stop the bleeding of some of the things that we're in arrears on, come up with a plan to go forward, because this doesn't prevent us from hiring someone. What this does is it puts us in order so that if we do hire somebody, we can bring them into an orderly system, as opposed to throwing them into the middle of a quagmire. This contract was designed to be not an emergency contract, but a very urgent one. We feel that it's going to be able to get the services in here, get the stability that we need, be able to get moving on this path, and at the same time, as we evaluate their performance and what they're doing for us, we can decide at some point whether we want to continue to hire or contracting the service. The benefit of contracting with this type of a service is it's not one person, it's a company. If we hire one person, what we can often have is just issues that arise from people having to take time off or doing things or just not performing their duties. There's one consultant that will be assigned to us and dedicated to us, but there are other resources within that firm that they can also reach. So if we have a special type of problem here or over there, that person can't handle it. They have resources that are much greater than what we can get to.
Okay, I was asking a specific question about whether our attorney looked at this contract. Yep, thank you. So our attorney has looked at the template for this contract, but not specifically this contract.
So the terms of the insurance, all the different terms, the governing law, all the key components are in here and have been reviewed.
Is there a not to exceed clause in this contract?
There is a not to exceed.
I haven't had time. So I'm asking questions on the record. There's a not to exceed clause. So yes, how do you bill? by the complete hour, by 15 minutes, by?
Yeah, it's only by the time, so we're not like a law firm where we charge you every 6 minutes. It'll be, and, for instance, if a client of mine calls me up and I answer a question, they'll never see a bill for it. So
it's not each time you receive an email or a call, we're not going to see that there's time billed?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Okay.
What?
But again, is it billed by the complete hour or by increment of exact minutes?
Yeah, I'd rather say that, because if someone spent 10 minutes doing something, they may record 10 minutes, on your time. But what you're not going to get that other scenario.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now there's other questions.
Yeah.
Commissioner Stolberg.
For the record, is the attorney named Matt or Matthew the attorney of record for the district?
Yes.
Thank you.
Commissioner Teeple.
My concern is that with the lack of a financial officer, those duties have been spread to other employees. I would like to know what duties that have been spread will not be taken over by your term. You said you don't do taxes.
Right.
That's the quarterly payroll taxes.
We can help. Prepare all those returns, but someone that's employed by the organization has to file those returns. We don't do that, but we can bring it up to that point.
You can create them?
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Are there any other things that have been given to other employees that you foresee will not be released from those employees?
I think there's a separation we want to maintain, and there's specific tasks we want to maintain. I think that one of the big things that they can bring to us is, here's what we can do for you. Here's what you need to do. And then we're going to be the ones picking and choosing what we do. I would like to transition this back to the district. That's the ultimate goal.
Right.
Or if we get in a maintenance agreement where it's pretty affordable and we're in a certain, we know what we're getting, we don't need them to do everything. We just need them to do what we define as what we want them to do. So right now it's a kind of come in triage. They're not going to do everything. That was never the intent. The intent was to get us to a point where we're all in compliance. We're getting our ODOT reimbursements applied for, get our money, and be able to maintain operations, and then look at those opportunities. Some things we may want to do, some things we still may want to hire somebody. I mean, those are the things I hesitate to tell you what it looks like at the end, because at this point I really want them to evaluate where we are, what's needed. Because I think there were things that we did, and we did pretty well, but I think there were things that we didn't do. And so I want to look at those too.
But mostly I want to make sure that you release the pressure that's on these employees.
That's exactly what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
We want to bring them in. This is like bringing them in to, now you have a backstop. Now you have some expertise. You're surrounded by this expertise. And so it's not just on one person anymore. And that was really, kind of pull the fire alarm, bring them in, let's get everything squared away. Those duties which still belong there will. Those duties which can be contracted out will be. And then it's really about where we want to be, and this will evolve over a period of time.
Yeah. Commissioner Montero.
I have endorsed from the very beginning that we need to do a current state analysis. And I'm trying to figure out what part of this is the current state analysis and what part is something else. Because as I look at like number 8 in this agreement, the contractor shall, and it says pay promptly all persons providing labor or materials. That sounds like AP, or AP, which and payroll. Are we saying that they're going to do AP and payroll?
This is a template. That was not our intent.
Well, so then, if this
has
is
to do
a template, then we need to make sure.
Yeah, we can sort out what they want. This number 8, you said?
Yeah. Yeah, number 8. Yeah, look at number 8.
Yeah, that just shows when we asked to develop a template, they said these are the laws we have to comply with. So I think what this promptly pays is alludes to. So I had a contractor come in here and paint, and he had a subcontractor come in and paint, this law requires them to be paid.
But this says.
That's not what this is intended for.
If this is part of the agreement, this says that's what they're going to do. If they're not going to do that, you don't put it in the agreement.
So.
But they may have subcontractors that they work
Hang on.
with, so that they would have to
Stop.
pay.
I believe that the wording of this contract needs some refinement, because there are several areas that it is unclear who this applies to, because I would say that on the number 5, it says independent contractor. It also says contractor is responsible for all taxes, withholding, insurance, and benefits. So there are some words missing in this contract that need to be added, because we need to make sure that it is referring back to the independent contractor's responsibility for their own taxes, their own withholding, their own insurance, and their own benefits. The same thing applies to number 8. So this is their subcontractors. They are for promptly paying all persons that provide labor to them or materials.
This needs to specify.
Right, so we need to make sure that this contract is specifically addressing the wording so that each section, it's very clear who these paragraphs apply to.
Okay, Madam Chairman, can I make it?
Yes.
Okay, so, yeah, so a couple of things, and great question over there, by the way, too. So, so we use no subcontractors, so that issue is off the table. So you're working with now CFO, a corporation. So all of our employees are W-2, and there's a reason for that, is we want to be able to direct them, but we also, when they come into your office, we don't want think of where my next gig is going to come from, right? Okay, so those are the 2 reasons. The other thing, but I want to address the accounts payable and AR for a second, is does Victoria have vacation?
Yes, she's an employee.
So, yeah. So it could be that our consultant for, if she's off a week or whatever, might be doing some of her functions, but that wouldn't be the primary function of our consultant coming in, because we're going to have her doing some of the higher level stuff and some of the more, critical reporting, processing, that sort of thing. But at the same time, there's always a possibility, because that position's got to be covered. I mean, and that's the other thing we can help the organization with too, is policies on cross training. I mean, it's we all deserve to take time off and be able to go someplace knowing my job's being taken care of and I don't have to come back to a mess. So yeah.
Just because I know we just got this, we haven't had time to really look at this. The majority of what it is that concerns the job that the contractor will be doing for us is in the Exhibit A. It's not the outline in the beginning. These are the beginning of the contract terms are what applies to the contractor and not the services that they will be providing. The requirements for them. So Exhibit A is after the signature page, since is what they are agreeing to do for us. The initial part of it is the requirements that they have and that they must comply with as far as the services that they provide and indemnifying us and how they are classified versus an employee. They are not our employees, so these are all the things that are required of them so that we are separating them from being employees. We are not going to pay employee taxes on them. They don't get benefits. They're not covered under our insurance. They have to have their own insurance. If they're found to, for some reason, one of their employees is embezzling money, it's on them, and they have to cover their legal, all of those kinds of things are what are in this services agreement. The scope of work is the services that they will be providing to us that we're saying we are asking them to do. So that is the focus of what we need to be looking at.
And this was a draft contract, so that what we would do is give them a copy of this contract, and they would have their folks make sure it fits for them. And then we have any comments today we want to provide, we can put that in there. I think it was intended to be boilerplate. And that's what so we'd have a way to do these kind of things. The actual detail and the scope of work, I think that's more of a negotiation, because we want them to be able to do everything, but we don't necessarily want them to do everything. So I think there's a kind of it's an iterative process as they identify things, and we're putting out the fires, and we're doing the reporting. We're going to be able to say, we want you to do this, this, and this. We need you to do that. But let's go ahead and you don't need to do that. And you know, maybe help us do this better. Mm-hmm. And then, you know, when there'll be, what I envision is this is a partnership where there's going to be that triage, put out the fires, get us to a stable state. And then as we're growing and developing, this could be a transition away from them. So in 6 months to a year, we could hire somebody else and their job is complete, and thank you very much. Or we decide to keep them in some capacity, and they can handle some of the heavy lifting, and our staff, either what we have now or augmented staff, can carry that other load, the day-to-day, the stuff that's like more nitty-gritty stuff, but is not the heavy lift. And so we try to make this kind of broad scope on purpose, so that we don't want to leave anything on the table. But it's really about the triage. We know we have these things that we're compelled to deal with right now, and it's urgent right now. We've been out of a CFO for so long that, and the difficulty for me is I know what I know, and I know what we're not doing, but there's things I don't know, and there's things I don't know we're not doing. And so some of the things like the and that, I've been working with Eisler and our auditor, and we're working through those things. But I don't know if there's other things that I don't know about, and so I'm not prepared to work through. So bringing in a corporate heavyweight off the bench, bring them in, fill those gaps right now, stop the bleeding, plug the holes in the dike, let's keep the ship afloat. And then we will have time, as we see, and in my mind, and I hope it's the same for all your customers, you see the product, we see the work, we see the quality. And if it's working for us, we want to keep doing it. If it's not working for us, I'll kick you to the curb and I'll get somebody else. Yeah. I mean, we're just in a stage where leaving where we are right now is critical. We are at a critical juncture, and if we don't take some sort of definitive action, we will be in some jeopardy at some point down the road.
How long will it take to get a current state analysis?
Well, normally if the engagement started out just that, we normally say like 10 days, because we have to have our consultant come in, take a look at the books, interview the people that work within the accounting department and some other, but normally 10 days, then we come back with a report for that. Might be just a little bit more if we started out getting the fires put out and then do that as we're moving along. So I know that's not a definitive answer, but
no. But theoretically, by our next board meeting, we could get a current state analysis.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. In your next board meeting, it's asked the wrong question.
It's a month away.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it was our intent to be able to use this to open up a window into transparency. We could bring different types of reports, whatever you wanted to see. They have a broader scope of knowledge, and they can show us the things that we want. We can ask the questions. We can look at the data. We can get as much stuff as we want, or as less of stuff as we want. And we can't hire more people and then reduce the number of people. We have to have try to find a steady state. And I think this gives us this chance to dig us out of the hole we're in. We get to see the quality of this product and see the level of financial accountability that I think at a very high professional level. And I don't know that we had that before. And now we have a way of I feel getting assurances that our finances are solid. We can display to the public that we have reputable corporation running this, and that we can present that to them, whether it's a portal or some other report window, we can do that. We can be way more transparent. This company can work with the board intimately, work with the finance committee. I think it just gives us a chance to really make this process.
Okay. Thank you.
I know.
Commissioner Goldberg.
I'm looking at this document that was distributed today. It's not labeled, watermarked, or indicated as a draft document. At the outset, I didn't understand that it was being presented as a draft document. Has this been reviewed by the district's attorney and determined to be executable in this state?
So what I would propose is that we look this over here, and if we have our comments, we would get it, because we have to submit it to them, and they're going to give us their comments. They're going to redline this. And we could, at that point, we can either accept it as it is, or we can submit it to our attorney for review. Okay. But we got the beauty of this was we had the template from them, from SDAO and our attorney, so we feel a really good place to start.
Okay.
I understand.
But are you finished? Or was there more to that question?
So to clarify, what are you asking us to do today? What are we going to vote or decide on today? What to go ahead with this as presented?
What I've done in the past is I've taken contract drafts to our leadership board or whatever, and they accept the draft. We go through and have the attorneys. Once they've endorsed it, then there's really, they're saying it's a complete and legal document. And at that point, I would enter into an agreement. So I'm asking for authority to enter into an agreement with CFO to move forward with this as quickly as possible. It's so urgent that, I mean, we spent a lot of time trying to come up with it. I mean, it's only been a couple of weeks we've been working on this. I mean, it didn't occur to me until later in the process, so I apologize for that. We didn't know what the outcome with our officer was going to be, so I didn't want to get ahead of this. But this has evolved into such a state where I have real concerns. If we wait too much longer, we could run into more jeopardy.
Okay, thank you. You answered the question.
Commissioner York.
I would just like to add to your request about the process that it also be reviewed by the chair, approved by the chair. That way we can still move outside the meeting for this discussion, but there is a board look at it.
Absolutely.
Agreed.
Commissioner Montero.
And I have a question on this last segment that says procurement note, read before award. I want to be sure that we are within the confines of ORS 279B.070 that we can be exempted from the 3-quote requirement. And I think you're referencing item C, calling it emergency procurement, but it has to be genuine, documented, et cetera, et cetera. I want to be sure that we are complying with that part of Oregon law, and that part of it maybe also needs to be reviewed by the attorney.
So I would like to respond to that in this template, it refers to an intermediate procurement. This dollar amount actually falls under a small procurement limit. And so as long as we do not exceed $25,000, it's a small procurement, which has less restrictions on it, and you don't have to do the RFP. So that needs to be corrected in this document so that we refer to not the intermediate, but a small procurement.
Okay.
So we're not, understand, it can't be one. Even later, that can't be authorized, because then we would have had to have an RFP process, because this does not constitute an emergency under any definition.
I don't think so. Is that you don't have to get 3 bids. funds.
Correct.
So that's.
So it's
what
ORS
we corrected.
279B.065.
That's correct.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. And I would endorse what Commissioner York has said, that we would add the chair on to the review, and definitely I would want that anything that comes back that's been revised outside has to go through our attorney.
It needs to be approved by the attorney prior to signing.
Yes, absolutely.
Madam Chairman?
Yes.
I want to say something about you. Can we have the report by the next board meeting? As long as we get started on it, to allow us to get
I
it back.
understand. I understand.
Yeah. Okay. So, before we make any sort of motion, I just would like to clarify, we have in our packet, item number 13A, there's a summary statement that includes some intent in there that I personally would like to make sure that we're clear about, and we're, as a board, speaking to this before we move forward. It says that we are considering,
The page.
I'm going to read.
What's the page number?
87.
Thank you.
So the title page for item number 13A, knowing that the scope of this has changed and additional services are being contracted, I still want us to be aware that this is what the summary says, and make sure that this is what the board's intent is with this. We are considering an initial contract with now CFO for the provision of CFO financial services. The contract will begin with a current state analysis project for $2,000. We would determine the number of hours per week and come back to the board with a cost estimate for a longer-term contract. This will allow us to transition to a contracted CFO in lieu of hiring an individual. There's a lot in that summary paragraph that the board really needs to speak to. If you need me to point it out, I will do so, but I believe that.
Well, first of all, it's not a $2,000 contract. It's a not to exceed $25,000. It's a 90-day contract. And it does include the current state analysis. I want to make sure that that's in there. And I think that we need to remove the sentence that says this will allow us to transition to a contracted CFO, because at this point that's still an open question, not necessarily an intent. And we can remove also, come back to the board with a cost estimate for a longer term contract, because we already know it's a 90-day, not to exceed $25,000.
Just want to make sure we're all, there's just a lot of things in here to be aware of, Commissioner Solberg.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing about the last sentence. It's not in lieu of hiring an individual employee, it's interim.
It's not an interim.
So the one thing that I think that this states is that it says that we're considering an initial contract with now CFO for the provision of CFO financial services. What we're looking for is financial services. So just want to make sure that we are clear in whatever motion we make to move forward that we're looking for financial services. It's not only CFO financial services, which are up here. It's the analysis and potential financial services all the way through the system. And then I would entertain a motion regarding the proposal in front of us, if somebody is prepared to do so.
Give it a shot.
Go ahead.
I would move that we develop an initial contract with now CFO for financial services, a contract for 90 days, not to exceed $25,000 for financial services.
And authorize the executive director to negotiate and effect such contract with the approval of our lawyer and our executive, our chair prior to signing contract.
Promotion. I'll
You get
second
all of that?
promotion.
I was making sure it's showing up.
Yeah, so
You
that
got
was
the first half, I got the second half.
Yeah, but, yeah, you got it.
That was a long motion.
Yes.
And it was made by Commissioner Teeple,
Second.
and seconded by Commissioner York. Okay, that was a collaborative motion.
That's
We're
good.
gonna let it slide that
Oh,
this
yes.
is
Yeah.
started,
Absolutely.
okay. There's a lot in it. There's a lot that we need to do here. I think that it's really important that we hit our intentions and the scope of what we're agreeing to right now. So it helps me when I'm gonna go review this, so, for what the board's intent is. All right. All those in favor? Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes aye, motion passes unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
for being here.
Thank you for having me.
We'll work out the details.
I have to leave.
Okay.
Yeah, and I've got one really.
All right, so, very quickly, correspondence, that was the meat of the meeting, so. Did we have any correspondence come in? No? Executive Director report, your
Yeah, here.
quick highlights?
Met with Cannon Beach, the city council, and the city manager, or executive director. Good presentation at Northwest Act.
Can you supply us with a copy of your presentation?
Yeah,
That would be great.
I have a template presentation. I presented the same one to the Cowlitz, Kayakum Council of Governments.
Yeah,
We're
that would
going
be
to,
great to
we're
see.
going to take that template and I've talked to staff about how we're going to build that out. And when we have presentations, we'll be able to take slides, add slides, delete slides. And be able to do that. So I'll send you the deck.
Great. Who is Granicus?
Granicus, that's a good question. So we were trying to brainstorm on what to do about improving our board reporting and recordings. We met with a firm called Granicus. They contract that out. They would come in, set up cameras, microphones, things like that. Actually, they don't do audio, do they?
What's that?
What was that? They do the cameras, but not the audio? Something like that. It's some weird thing like that. Anyway, they have these really neat remote operators and different ways to identify, and they give you reports and help you set agendas and all that. And for the low price of $100,000 a year, they will
Okay,
provide
you
us.
can stop talking
Yeah.
now.
Okay.
You can
But what
stop
we're
talking
trying to
now.
do is find out what the market is, what kind of things are out there, and essentially, this is not something we can
Okay.
afford. What I've asked Jason to do is look at, he has a couple of options that I've asked him to prepare a presentation to the board and come back at our next board meeting and show what options we might have to improve, whether we have an owl, whether we have individual laptops and microphones, we can look at those things.
Okay, one more highlight from your report, and we're moving on to the next report.
Okay, I do have to leave.
Yep.
I will read
Anytime.
the reports thoroughly again.
Yes.
Thank you.
This strategic planning next steps, we will be meeting again with Mark and going to a process with him to work on our department level and the implementation of the strategic plan.
Okay. Thank you. Any questions for the executive director on his report?
Just a
Request for
comment.
future. Yep.
A suggestion, that when you're looking at IT improvements, that you reach out to the people who have that in the community
Yes.
already and
Okay.
find out what the market's like and what they're using. Because I know the CCA has that,
Yeah.
so, yeah,
We did that.
okay.
Operations.
I'll be quick.
I need to-
Definitely answer.
I need to go, but I would
Yes.
like to make one comment.
Yes.
Before I go, and that is, I want to commend Sam on his report and his reports. I find very, very useful. I would love to see that same sort of philosophy being done by others presenting their reports. The full sentences are nice. The posing the issue and then the resolution is very helpful for me. So, good work, Sam.
Thank you.
Sorry I have to leave.
Yes.
Summer schedules have been finalized. I have in my board report with operational adjustments only. So routes were not changed, just times to help with summer on-time performance. Definitely when we do make service changes that will go to the public, come to the board for approval. Definitely the TAC, they have to have their approval in there also. So we allowed for on-time performance, which does help ridership. Drivers were taken into consideration for their comments and help because they know their riders, and we definitely want to be more on time and more reliable in that aspect. As you are well aware of Seaside and Cannon Beach, just in the recent weekends, and we try to improve that so riders can expect us at the time we say we're going to be there. And one more addition, of course, we start July 1st. Also with July 1st, as discussed in the budget hearing, we are unfortunately going to try not to do this, laying off the 2 employees, and what that creates changes next week. And so I've also made the decision to close the transit center, and we're hoping this will be temporary for lunch to help relieve the stress on the TSSs, especially on days when one of the 2 are on vacation or taking accrued time. And with the support of bringing on after hours call, we're hoping that will help alleviate some of the stress during that lunch hour. And as we get through all of these challenges and that we've experiencing over the last 6 months, that we can work through that and bring that back on. We hope that this is a temporary change effective next week. But all these things have been posted. We're going to start doing Facebook and get that on the website, definitely. Of course, the schedules can't be posted on the website till the day of. It's just a fluke in the website. But the notices are getting out there, and we're trying to get as much public notice as we possibly can.
So you say that the schedules can't be posted on the website until the day of?
They can only have one PDF listed on the schedule as they're currently at on the website related to the route itself.
Okay. They need to be. Need to be posted on the website in some format so that people can access them and see them so they can make plans ahead of time. I mean, they have less than a week at this point, and people are not going to memorize the ones that they see posted on the schedules. So whether they're posted in the schedule area or as an urgent notice or upcoming change or something, some file, that information needs to be virtually available to people.
Yeah. So I believe that with Nawada's help, thank you for even just jogging my memory. Nawada has changed the website over to a new, what's the correct term, website manager, and they may be able to create that function for me. And it's just recently happened. So thank you for thinking of saying that. So I will push that
button. Because for people to make adjustments to their schedule.
I have a question about the changes. If you're closed for lunch, are there riders that will be outside the transit center waiting during that lunch hour?
It will be scheduled after the 101 is left, which is roughly 11:30 to 12:30. There is no perfect time to pick a lunch. The buses are still coming and going. All the routes have a different lunch hour. Riders, we have thought of keeping the lobby open and not when the window would be closed. And Jason and I are going to create QR code for transit token transit, and how to purchase a Portland Point ticket online. Just trying to give as much customer service opportunity with the lobby possibly open, still secured, but the window will have to be closed just to give them, still be able to dispatch, but to allow for a lunch in that middle of those 2 shifting and still create a quiet window for dispatch that still needs to happen.
Okay, because my concern was riders relying on this area for shelter while they're waiting and access to a restroom, which doesn't really exist other places very much.
Right.
It's very limited access.
Right.
So if you're transitioning in that direction.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Yeah,
Thank
we don't want to close it. We're trying to alleviate stress. Yeah, I appreciate those comments. Any other questions?
Thank you for covering some of my questions right in advance. Appreciate that. Mobility.
Thank you very much for everything that you guys are doing. Appreciate your work. Just really ramping up busy-wise, more travel training requests, more outreach opportunities, just trying to balance it all and get out there and get it done. Just trying to also work on, as soon as we do encounter some of the staffing reduction, taking on the full application process for ADA paratransit applications and hopefully to stay up on those. So other than that, that's all. Any questions?
Thank you for your reports. Any other questions? HR.
Okay. For recruitment, we're doing great actually. For the first time, we do have a talent pool and a driver's pipeline. We get to choose the most qualified candidates rather than trying to hire or like go after any candidate. Just please come work for us. We have different sources now that we're working with. For example, community college, Workforce Oregon, and also the platforms like Indeed and other platforms. So we're in a great position when it comes to recruiting, great pipeline. I also the district hired a new driver supervisor who is licensed in both Oregon and Washington, and they made sure to pick someone with this qualification because that helps with the CDL training program. We do have a CDL training program at this point, and we got 3 candidates. One of them should be behind the wheels very, very soon, and the other one is starting on July 6th. But our new driver supervisor is qualified to give the training in both states, which is something we didn't have before. Policies or job descriptions. Senior management have a copy of it. It's just reviewing the job descriptions based on the scope of work and all of that. And we will send you a copy once it's ready to invite everyone. And I'm also working on the actual district policy, but that's a very long-term project. It's going to take time. We have about 167 pages to update. For benefits, we renewed with the SDIS for another year. It remains the strongest and cost-effective option for the district. We're also looking into, as you know, now CFO. So I appreciate the feedback. We're working with them closely, I guess, to accomplish what we want to accomplish. I'm also looking into different systems to improve compliance and efficiency. I'm looking into one system that operations, payroll, human resources can use all at once rather than having so many different systems and going back and forth between them, and something to keep us up to date with compliance as well. Also, we got a good actually deal with Brown & Brown. They are our district insurance company, and we got a deal to reduce the cost for about 6% compared to last year. We were back and forth with the negotiations, and we agreed on that, and we signed the contract with them. So that saves the district about 6% compared to last year with the same benefits. My future goal is to get better benefits for the employees as well. For risk management, I think we mentioned that last meeting. We're working with tech member Jonathan. He offered to provide the training for the CPR training at no cost for the district. So that's a win for us. So overall, from human resources perspective, I'm focusing on recruitment, improving documentation, compliance, and also controlling the cost for the district. Those are the main goals that I have from HR perspective. And lastly, you have the workforce snapshot. You'll see a lot of changes within the next meeting, though, because we're going through a lot of changes. That's all I have. Any questions for me?
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Would you like to add anything?
I have one question, sorry.
Yeah, sure.
I haven't seen anything updated about the training, the Vector Solutions, and whether those trainings are being ongoingly monitored for employees, and whether the board has also been notified of trainings that are necessary that they may need to take, or recommended training.
We are up to date with that. So basically, I pull a report from Vector showing what do we need or what the deadlines are for every training. I'm also working with the driver supervisor to stay up to date with that, because sometimes, or some of these trainings I'm not aware of that they need to take it. So we have 3 different ways to check. So from that perspective, we're up to date.
Okay.
We're not taking anything.
Just want to make sure that the board is also being included on the ones that they are required, the ethics, the mandatory reporting. There's a lot of different things that, as an elected official, means that we are required to do at least once per term. So,
that's more of that.
All right, excellent. Yes.
I'm sorry. I think Victoria wants to say something.
Oh, excellent. Thank you.
So I'm a little nervous because I don't know how this works, but I had just wrote some things down. So over the course of everything, me and payroll have been working together. Me and HR have been working together with the payroll, and like this support, it's just been paramount to helping. Some of the things I wanted to mention is just by us not addressing our issues independently, but by coming together, it has helped this organizational risk. Just like Sam was talking about all the different places that we are, together, we're that one place. Because for training and this and that, by collectively coming together, we've been able to prove the documentation, verify procedures, payroll accuracy, benefit coordination, the timely updates of pay increases and things like that. So these are some of the things I wanted to say. HR has just been very invaluable through all of this. The solution-oriented approach that, let's find a solution. What can we do to collaborate and bring what he has independently, what I have, and make it a whole to affect all of us for the bigger. So, all right.
Thank you. Can I add one thing?
Sure.
Victoria's done just an absolutely fantastic job in what she's been doing. And when she mentions some of the payroll things, as she has taken on these tasks, she's going, something's wrong here. Or this looks a little bit unusual. And her working together with the senior management team, we have actually kind of aligned and fixed a lot of these little things a little thing here and there that just kind of go unnoticed. And her attention to detail and her tenacity and her ability to work with me and the rest of the team has been fantastic. She's been including in our senior staff meetings recently, and I expect that to continue for some time. And I think that with her insight, we're able to see a more global picture of where we are, and then bringing in a consultant to come in and help her and backstop. I think we can really get to a lot of the stuff that's endemic with us, and but Victoria, I called her Atlas yesterday because she's holding the world up, and I meant that she's doing a great job, and we all really appreciate her here. So thank you, Victoria.
Thank you. All right, any other questions or items that the board wants to bring up before we adjourn?
Well, can I just say that, I've only been here since January, but it seems like this is a really working team between the commission and the staff. It seems to be goal-oriented, working. So I think it's good.
Excellent. All right. I just want to remind you all, you're going to be getting scheduling emails at some point in time between now in at least the week before our next meeting, so that we can get some extra work done. There'll be another extra meeting, and I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Chair votes aye. We are adjourned.